Potgieter.
Thanks, Chair. Although I think you've done my introduction for me. Deputy Minister Officials, Chairperson, thank you. I'm Leah Potgieter from the Democratic Alliance.
Good morning, Chairperson. Good morning to the Deputy Minister, the DG, colleagues, MG. My name is Marlon Daniels. I'm a member of this portfolio committee and I'm deployed here by the Patriotic Alliance. Thank you. I thought it was separate.
Good morning. My name is Gift Mutaung and I'm sitting in this committee. Nice to meet you. I'm from the MK party.
Sanmanan, good morning. My name is Eugene Mteto, member of the Portfolio Committee on Sports, Arts and Culture, deployed by EFF. May I give a special greeting to my sector people. Today I'm home, Chair. I'm home today. I'm fighting a battle with my guerrillas. Thanks, Chair.
Good morning, Chairperson, honorable members, parliamentary staff, as well as colleagues of Honorable Mteto. I think he must also declare. My name is Matsulo Molotsane. I'm a member of this portfolio committee and deployed here by African National Congress. Thank you, Chairperson.
You see now. Oh, good morning, everyone. Good morning, Deputy Minister, honorable members, our fellow colleagues from MGE. Nothing has changed, still the same. My name is Khaulatli, the surname is Khabo, and I'm also a member of this committee. And good morning to the officials of the department as led by the DG. Thank you very much.
Professional staff of the portfolio committee, starting from my left. Is there any microphone on? We have Amapiano here and we have a structural.
Good morning all, and Ajabulile to Miss Amtia, Committee Secretary for Arts and Culture. Thank you.
Good morning, Minister, DG, MPs, and esteemed guests. My name is Johnny van der Westhuizen. I'm the Committee Assistant for the Portfolio Committee. Thank you.
Good morning, Chair, DG, Deputy Minister, honorable members, guests. My name is Dr. Jacobo Jacob More, the researcher for sport and recreation. Thank you.
Morning, Chair, DG, and colleagues. My name is Bulelo Kulata, the Executive Secretary to the Chairperson. Thank you.
Yeah.
Good morning, Chair, honorable members, DG colleagues. My name is Peace Mabe. I'm the Deputy Minister of Sports, Arts and Culture.
Good morning, Chair, members of the portfolio, DM, colleagues. I am Dr. Cynthia Kumalo, the Director General, Sport, Arts and Culture.
Good morning, Chair and members, DM, DG, and colleagues and other members present. I'm Sbusiso Tsanyane, the acting DTG for ACPD.
Good morning, Chair and honorable members, DM, DG, acting DTG, and colleagues. My name is Kawaka Alabi. I'm the Deputy Director, MGE.
Good morning, Chair. Good morning, Deputy Minister, DG, honorable members. My name is Masana Chikeka from the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture, Acting Chief Director, Cultural Development.
Morning, Chairperson, Deputy Minister, DG, and members of Parliament. Simpiwa Mwenyama in the Office of the DG.
Good morning, Chair, Deputy Minister and DG, and all other colleagues. My name is Lodwig Raleigh BP, Officer of the Director General.
Good morning, the most progressive chairperson of our time. My name is Mr. Romeo Ramwada. I'm the president of the South African Arts and Culture Youth Forum, and I'm actually deployed here by the MGE Consent Artist. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Good morning, Chair and the honorable members. My name is Olibila Mutelesi. I'm the Secretary General of the South African Arts Association in South Africa. I'm deployed here by the creatives. Thank you.
Good morning, Chair, diligent and compromised Chair and this committee. My name is Epta Mailula. I am the creative practitioner in the music sector with 25 years unbroken record. Thank you.
Good morning, Chair, DM, DG, members and colleagues. It's Michelle Boiter, the Parliamentary Officer for the Ministry.
Good morning to the House at large. My name is Lele Tuma Mbeshala. I am an artist from Ekabeja and I've been deployed here by the MGE Concerned Citizens. I represent those who are Black, female, blind. And next to me is my assistant, Uvuyokwazi Gwaka. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Boyla Mgoma. I'm the president of SALSIF. I'm an artist and an activist and a lot of other things.
Thank you so much for everyone in this room. Is there still more?
Yeah, Chair.
Oh, my apologies.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you. Good morning, Chair. Good morning, Deputy Minister. Good morning, DG. Good morning, honorable members. My name is Unati Malunga. I'm also here on behalf of the creative industries. I'm an entertainment lawyer, a lobbyist, and an orchestral conductor. Thank you.
Thank you so much for everyone.
Honorable Chair. From the visual chair.
Can you give me an opportunity? I'm chairing here. Thank you so much for everyone in the room. And I want to thank you for the vote of confidence and want to pass that to the rest of the committee. I am now Honorable Daniels.
Thank you, Chairperson. Chairperson, I see my sister here from Nelson Mandela Bay. I just wanted to know I'm from Galvindale. So, thank you.
I am now going to give an opportunity to members of the Portfolio Committee on the hybrid system to introduce themselves. And if possible, we would like to see you and to ensure ourselves that it is you, Honorable Koban.
Yes, thank you so much. My name is G. Kobani Penny, member of Sports, Arts and Culture, deployed by MK Party. Everything is IA.
Thank you so much, Honorable Imran.
Thank you, Chairperson, and a warm welcome to all our participants today. Highly appreciate it. My name is Imran Musa, and I'm from the Al Jamaa Party. And yes, I'm also the leader in Parliament and also the Chief Whip of Al Jamaa in Parliament. Thank you so much, Honorable Chairperson.
There's still two members. My favorite ex-minister.
Good morning, Chairperson. And let me take this opportunity to also greet all our guests there in Parliament.
My name is Faith Mutambi. I'm the member of the Portfolio Committee representing the African National Congress. Thank you, Chair, for the opportunity.
Sanibonani, ngiyaxolisa ivida ivuleki. My name is Kokulethu Mchunu, a member of this committee, and I'm deployed by Umkhonto weSizwe. Thank you.
Yes, I'm going to be a little bit progressive in this meeting. We also have the adjudication panel in this meeting that was invited and to be here in person. I'm not too sure who is chairing that meeting. I'm not too sure, is it Mr. Steve Mutale? But if you start introducing yourself, please also give us reasons why you are not in Parliament in person.
Thank you, Chair. My name is Steve Modale. I am the chairperson of the adjudication panel of MGE. Now, like you have requested, Chair, we only got the invitation to come to Parliament on Wednesday afternoon. Now, that was, yeah, we got the invitation. So there was a mishap between us and the department. Members of the panel were only informed on Wednesday that we have to be in Parliament on Friday. So we couldn't make it because of various commitments. As you might be aware, members of the panel have come from different backgrounds. We have business people, we have professionals. So it was a bit awkward for them. But an arrangement was made for us to appear virtually. Thank you very much.
The other members may follow. Adjudication members.
Good morning. Good morning, Honorable Chair.
You are too many in one room using two devices. I'm happy if you can
remove the other one. Good morning, Honorable Chair. My name is Simon Molefe Moloi. I'm the member of the panel. As explained by the chair, we only received the invitation on Wednesday, and that's why we have said would have loved to come in person. However, with the respect to the portfolio committee and the request from the DG, we agreed to suspend certain things for a few hours to attend to the request of the portfolio committee. Thank you.
The members can proceed of the adjudication panel. How many are on the platform? 5. Steve. Please unmute. There's someone who is identified as UM. Are you part of the panel? Mr. Mutale, is there still members that have to introduce themselves?
Couldn't make it because they had prior arrangement with other commitments.
Yeah, you see, Mr. Mutale, this is a very important meeting. And we don't want to start with the wrong foot. And I know you very well. I was a young boy playing soccer in Alabama, and you were a journalist. And I admired you a lot. You were writing a lot of me. You at the time, and Mr. John Doe, when the former MP. I don't know whether you can recall me. And I really would have expected better from this adjudication panel to be present here, because serious decisions has been made by your committee where millions of rands are involved. As a result, we are sitting here, and I must tell you, the messages that I received was that they are waiting for the speaker. There was communication between the minister's office and the speaker, because this committee, and according to the allegations, was that this committee is overstepping and overreaching its oversight role. I have ignored all of those letters because we have a duty to South Africans in terms of our oversight to see whether processes was fair and whether accountability has been dealt with in an open opportunity for everyone. So I want to stress on behalf of the committee that we take complete exception to the fact of your thin delegation present on this platform. But be as it may, I trust that you, as the chairperson of this adjudication committee, will be in a position to give answers to South Africans today on why and the reasons we are sitting here today. With that said,
excuse me, Chair. Sorry, pardon me. I'm battling. I don't know how to raise my hand here. So pardon me for interrupting. Okay. Thanks, Chair. I remember you very, very well. As you indicated, me and you come a long way. But like I indicated, we are professionals, Chair. There's no way we can be informed on Wednesday afternoon that we have to be in Cape Town on Friday. I think, Chair, you have to direct your anger to the department, really, which is justified. It's not really our fault. We would have gladly presented ourselves to the committee. We understand the serious role that you play, the oversight role that you play. There's no way we could have ignored your invitation to come to Parliament. The issue is we were only informed on Wednesday afternoon. That is the issue.
I'm going to give the department an opportunity to respond to that, because, like I said, these meetings have been planned months before time. In this particular one was executed a month ago, the decision. The department.
No, thank you, Chairperson. The Chairperson of the MGE adjudicating panel is correct. They were only invited by us on Wednesday. And in the letter, Chairperson, that we wrote to you, we did indicate as follows, that when the notice was received, the department made attempts to invite the members of the panel as per the Portfolio Committee's program. Arrangements for attendance were, however, not initiated, as the department was awaiting direction considering the communication by the Minister to the Portfolio Committee Chairperson and the Speaker of the National Assembly. After the meeting held on the 2nd of September, where the matter of the invitations by the committee were clarified or was clarified, the department attempted to contact members to finalize the travel arrangements for the meeting. Unfortunately, none of them were available to attend the meeting, considering that members of the panel are professionals and business people from different sectors, and they had already planned ahead for the week. However, members of the panel have indicated that they will be available to appear before the Parliamentary Portfolio Committee any day in future on condition that the department informs them on time. I hope this explanation will be acceptable to the Parliamentary Portfolio Committee. Chairperson, we did indicate in the letter written to you that against this background, we want to apologize for the inconvenience this has caused and we remain committed to making arrangements. Basically, Chairperson, it was a call that we made based on the correspondence where we are awaiting direction and a way forward. And if we made a wrong call, we did apologize in the letter written to you, Chairperson.
Thank you. That solves every problem. Members, I'm not going to open it up for further debate. The department has apologized because they were uncertain about our role after so many years, but it's fine. Let's proceed. Honorable members, today's meeting is a crucial meeting for us, and it marks a juncture for South Africa's creative sector, our artists, our performers, cultural workers, and creative entrepreneurs, the very custodians of our national identity and imagination, continue to confront significant challenges in sustaining their craft and livelihoods. The plight of creative practitioners, exacerbated by structural barriers, limited access to sustainable funding, and the lingering impact of the pandemic, demands our urgent and focused attention. The cultural and creative industries are not merely an expression of our heritage and diversity. They are a driver of social cohesion, youth empowerment, and economic participation. Yet too many talented South Africans find themselves unable to translate their skills into meaningful opportunities to access the platforms necessary to showcase their work locally and internationally. In this context, the MGE strategy remains a central policy intervention. It aims to unlock the economic potential of the creative and cultural sector, speaks directly to our task as a committee to ensure that public investment in this sector is impactful, equitable, and transformative. We must reflect carefully today on what has transpired in this whole scenario. These instruments were designed to broaden access, nurture new voices, and create pathways for practitioners to reach an audience both home and abroad. The question before us, honorable members, are whether they are achieving these goals and how they can be strengthened to better the sector. That's why we are here today. Today's discussion must therefore go beyond policy into lived experience of those involved. Mechanisms and chart a way forward that ensures transparency, fairness, and sustainability in how resources are allocated. The Minister and the Department have taken steps in a direction with the Cultural and Creative Industrial Bosberaad last year with a view to organizing disciplines, advocating for fair practices. And there are many examples pertaining to this. Also to improve the sector and also to set up interim sector boards. The process, including its achievement and challenges, should form part of the committee's ongoing oversight over the department and its entities, particularly in the respect of openness, equity, and transparency. Let this meeting be a step towards creating a culture of improved responsiveness, meaningful cooperation, deeper scrutiny, and ultimately better policy implementation to raise the quality of life in South Africa. Indeed, honorable members, it was a sad day for this country when on 14 May 2025, practitioners in the cultural and creative industries marched on both the Union and Shishaba House, home of the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture, to deliver a memorandum to the President and the Minister, respectively, which highlight their dismay about a range of issues, including Mzansi Golden economic initiatives, including the abrupt cancellation of MGE open deadline, the inadequate communication to applicants, instructions for applicants to reapply from scratch despite prior assurance, the disparity in treatment of applicants, with some receiving results while others did not. A drastic reduction in maximum funding allocation. With that said, honorable members, I am going to provide the Department Sports, Arts and Culture and the MGE adjudication panel today to give to us a report in this nature, the department. Honorable Mtetwa.
Thank you, Chair. Corporate governance, good governance dictate that I must declare upfront that I'm not conflicted. Yes, I know the sector. Some of the organizations I've participated in, but I remain very impartial. They know that, very independent. And this time, there's nobody who has given me money like Athletic SA's CEO. So I declare that up front, and don't be misled thinking that it is me on this presentation. When you see Sporty and the Pansulas, it's not me, a chairperson. So yeah, I thought I should do that.
Thank you, Honorable Mtetwa. Honorable Kobani, do you have anything to declare?
Nothing, sir.
Honorable Kabo.
I'm not declaring, Chairperson. Luckily, I'm not a beneficiary of any type from our creative sector. Chair, I wanted to check, maybe I might be out of tune. You'll correct me if I'm wrong. Pardon me in advance. My understanding is that MGE panel, it's a product of National Arts Council, if not mistaken. Where is the National Arts Council, or is it part of this meeting?
They're not, honorable member.
They are not part of this meeting?
No. The panel is not part of NIC.
It's an independent panel?
Yes.
Okay, fine, perfect.
I see another hand.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Yeah, Chair, I think through you, Chair, I don't know if I'm out of order or what, but I think since Mr. Mutale is saying there are only two, but I think it's important for us to know the whole list of the names of the panel, because for him to just say there are two, they are leaving us hanging. We must know who are the people involved in the adjudication of these projects. Thank you, Chair.
The information will come up from the presentation. The department.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Indeed, that information will also be part of what we are going to present. Chair, if we just go with the person who's assisting with the presentation, I'm going to take the members through this particular slide, and then I'll hand over to the acting DDG to take the committee and the attending representatives through the entire presentation. I just wanted to indicate before we do that, that this presentation came with about 3 other attachments, annexures, and they are going to be made reference to in the presentation as it goes on. And it covers the background into the MGE inception, how it was, how it came about. It goes through the issues that have been highlighted in the correspondence that we received from yourself, Chairperson, in terms of the briefing that is required. So acting DDG Mr. Tsanyane will then take the meeting through the presentation. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. I'm giving between yourself and the panel 20 minutes, for the most 25. So, Dr. Komalo, please advise how you're going to share this with Mr. Steve Mutale.
We will do the presentation as a department, Chair, and then you'll see the information is informed by what came out of the adjudication done by the panel. And if there are questions, they will then come in and address that. My apologies, Chair. Can I just allow DM comments first before the presentation? Through you.
It's fine, Chair.
Yeah, Chair, no, thank you very much. Maybe for the interest of time, let us just continue with presentations.
proceed, Dr. Kumalo.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I'm just going to take you briefly through the presentation. Chair, I'll try and be quick and on the assumption that the document or the presentation was already read. I'm not going to read through on other slide line by line. The first slide refers to the background of MGE and just highlighting where it comes from. The 2011 convention or consultative conference that was held then gave rise to MGE with the purpose of making strategic investments to optimize the economic benefits of the arts in South Africa. The matter at hand in the next slide as we proceed, matter at hand is the issue of the open call for MGE, the call for funding that was announced in March, 20th of March, 2025. It was revised to make the criteria to be simpler in comparison to the initial call that was made. So this open call, revised open call was made reverting to the short-term and once-off projects that the sector has been accustomed to. The applications for the initial CCIPs for the initial call were then cancelled. The applications for the revised MG open call for the two workstream, which is CCIP and touring ventures, were submitted manually at designated locations in all 9 provinces and through a specified email address between the 10th and the 12th of April 2025. So this was after some of the complaints were received in terms of the manner in which they had to submit. So a provision was made that there also be manual submission of application for the revised call. And all CCIP applicants were advised to reapply based on the revised criteria. The touring venture results were then announced to accommodate those who had already secured international platforms. As we move to the next slide, Chair, it depicts the initial call that was made and also the revised call. The initial call was made for the CCIP, which is the Cultural and Creative Industries Projects, with a maximum grant of 9 million. And the duration of the project there was made to be between 6 and 9 months. Touring ventures were at a maximum grant of 1 million for both international and local tours. The revised call, which was then subsequently issued, reduced the amount of the grant to 2 million. And the duration there was made to be a short term and it became a once-off. Now, this was done simply because the 9 million amount was seen to be a large amount, which is good for some, but then it was going to benefit less projects or less applicants with the money that is available for MG. So you'd have funded less projects than maximizing on the amount that we had. And for the touring ventures, the amount was not changed. So it remained the same for both international, it was for 1 million for international tours only. So these are the work streams that are considered the touring ventures, where tours are supported for development and exploration of new markets for the nation's cultural and creative outputs, while providing employment opportunities for cultural and creative practitioners or artists. As we have indicated, the maximum available grant there is 1 million per grant per beneficiary. The CCIPs, which are funded as a driver for employment, providing work, job opportunities and gig opportunities for the arts, culture and heritage sector, also promoting local economic development, social inclusion and cultural diversity. The maximum available grant there is 2 million per grant per beneficiary. So that those projects are also linked to the 17 sectors that disciplines, 17 disciplines that are there that the department has established.
The revised 2025 open call, in terms of the statistics, the total number of applications that were dropped at designated venues, it was 1,354, and the ones that were received through emails was 1,442. Now, to note there is that the number of emails do not equate to the number of applicants, because it does happen that at times you receive duplicate applications through emails, so that then would create that imbalance. But the total number of captured applications, as indicated, is 2,823, and the duplicates were 294. So which then, if you minus that indicated, there is 2,529. And in terms of the approved applications, there's a total number of 152. Touring ventures, we have 27, and CCIPs, 125. Next slide. There were also in terms of the non-compliant applications, where you find that applications have outstanding required compliance document, and some with incorrect or invalid attachment as per the requirements of the criteria. And the status there in terms of the statistics is that for compliant applications, we received 1,088, and non-compliant applications were 1,735. The next slide. In terms of the work stream, this is just an disaggregation according to work streams. In terms of the compliant and non-compliant applicants for CCIPs, we had 1,010 compliant applications and 1,674 non-compliant applications. For touring ventures, we had 78 which were compliant and 61 which were non-compliant. Next slide. In terms of the declined applications, the reasons thereof range from the budget not broken down and contravening the cost per job or work opportunities as stipulated in the MGE revised guidelines, talent searches and competitions, which is not clear, project focusing more on capacity building through training and or workshops rather than on the context of comparison, creating work or gig opportunities for creatives and practitioners. One of the next one is artists or creative are benefiting least in the project where they are not benefiting much, and then others would be the application seeking operational cost to buy equipment, cars, etc. And others would be other non-cultural and creative sectors, which is agricultural programs, school excursions, children's related program, and others would be multidisciplinary proposals. Next slide, please. Now, this slide, Chair, is the MGE adjudicators in terms of their names and also the brief profile in terms of what they do. As indicated, we have Mr. Steve Mutale, who is a chairperson. We have Miss Shabnam Peterson. We have Mr. Simon Muloi, Mr. David Kau, Mr. Vernon Vrachom, and Mr. Francisco Tejada. This is the next slide speaks of the comparison on the MGE open call throughout the years. And as you can see that in 2021, there was a large number of applications received as opposed to the 2025-26 financial year, which we are looking at, where we received 2,823 applications. Next slide, please. This is the comparison for MG calls in terms of the received proportion on the received and the approved applications. And if we look at 2025-26 financial year, we'll see that 152 have been approved as opposed to the number total number that was received of 2,823. Next slide. This is just the overall performance in terms of the applications that were approved in terms of progress of what has happened so far. Before the funds are transferred, the department signs an MOA between the department and the beneficiary. The total number of MOAs that are with our legal services for vetting, so far we have 39, which is 1 for touring venture and 38 for CCIP. The number that are still awaiting compliance document is 25. The number that have been vetted, because the vetting happens 2 times, 8 has undergone through the first vetting. There's also a number of applicants that are withdrawn, declined, or deregistered, or with queries outstanding, and there are no replies from the beneficiaries. And we have 7 of those, and they fall under the CCIPs. Total number of that one, I'm not going to dwell much because there's a process there of item creation that we do with the National Treasury to make payments. It is not applicable because so far there is 0. The total number of the projects where a first tranche of payment has been paid is 42, meaning that there's projects that have already received their first tranche. Touring ventures, there's 22 that have received their first tranche, and under CCIP we have 20. And that then translates to the value in terms of rents to 24,931,992. Total number of outstanding for which are still have to receive their first tranche of payment is 110, where we have 5 for touring ventures and 105 for the CCIPs. The next slide, please, which talks about challenges. That during this open call, there were complaints raised against the portal and the newly introduced criteria, citing access challenges. Following the closing of the revised open call, the complaints were still coming, claiming that the portal provided a cheaper and more convenient means for all. It can either be a complaint or complement that one, including individuals living with disabilities and those in rural areas, as it allowed practitioners to access applications from anywhere at any time via internet for the duration of the open call without them having to travel long distances. The NPO compliance requirement was seen as an impediment because in order for beneficiaries to qualify per the criteria, they had to be registered as an NPO. So that was seen also as a complaint that it is an impediment for others. The demands for the results of the initial process, despite the statement issues on the 7th of March, there was that, and I think Chair has alluded in the introduction to some of the challenges that have been experienced, and long turnaround times for outcomes due to the manual nature of the process, where each letter is individually typed, verified, quality checked, and emailed, meaning, Chair, that mostly it is manual. Next slide, please. In terms of opportunities, there is a need to continuously advance the cultural and creative industries. However, achieving this will require a process to take into account the unregulated environment that we operate within. The department, in collaboration with the sector, has established the 17 clusters aligned to the 6 cultural domains as classified by UNESCO. This is a sector coordination and support model that will enable direct access to a cluster of sectors and giving each a voice. These organizations, based on the specific disciplines, have been identified as focal points for this financial year. And this initiative aims to support the sector while promoting inclusion and creating engagement platforms and networks opportunities for the creatives. There will be an opportunity for the clusters to influence and empower creatives to participate in decision-making process related to their respective field. a process towards the development of regulation has commenced, working with the sector clusters. So the next slide, Chair, is just a graphic of the 17 the cluster domains that have been established. I'm not going to go through them. And that is the last slide, Chair, and thank you.
That was great. Still 10 minutes left. May I request whether Mr. Mutale want to add something? If so, I would request you also to inform the committee on application pertaining to their geographical spread. Mr. Mutale.
Thank you, Chair. In terms of let me first deal with your request in terms of the geographical spread. The panel received applications from all 9 provinces of the country. However, the majority of these came from 2 provinces, Gauteng and KZN. You might be wondering, for instance, as to why very, very low rate of approval. We encountered a lot of problems. We found that most of the applications, typically where there's money involved, there will be a lot of chance takers. So many of these people did not even read the guidelines, they just threw in their applications. However, there were genuine applications, real applications from real people in the creative sector. So most of the problems that we encountered that led to non-approvals was people were not following the basic criteria. For instance, they mentioned issues of workshops and training when the guidelines were clear that MGE is a job creation initiative. We also found instances where in the proposals, administrators were paying themselves astronomous amounts, and the most important people, the artists, were benefiting the least. And in terms of the budgets that were submitted, we found that these were not detailed. The budgets were not properly or broken down in detail. So also that led to the disqualification of many applications. And there was an issue also of most of the applications being a talent search initiative when the guidelines were clear that there shouldn't be any talent search initiatives. And there was also the issue of workshops and, of course, no detailed breakdown of the budget. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mutale. May I request members on the platform, hybrid platform, if it is possible, to switch on your camera as this meeting are being streamed live. Thank you so much. Honorable members, that leaves us with the next presentation that we will receive by the concerned creative practitioners. You have 30 minutes. I'm giving you more time, not because you were having a vote of confidence in the committee. We want to hear all your stories, because what is important for us in this particular case also that the department or Mr. Mutale and others must submit to us who was the ones who won vehicles and kumbis and bakis. Because this thing has 2 sides. This whole story has 2 sides. So we need all of those informations. Who's going to lead us from the practitioner side?
Chair, I wanted to raise my hand as the other board member of the other panel member. Can I request to make a few input?
Please identify yourself and proceed.
Okay, my name is Simon Muloi. I wanted to add just on what the chair said. One of the things that the panel looked at was the fact that the applications of people with disabilities.
Just a second for me. Just a second for me. We have requested that we switch on our cameras, if it is possible, as this meeting have been screened. Please proceed.
Thank you, Chair. What I wanted to submit was that, to add on what the Chair said, one of the decisions we also worked on was to create a leniency or a discretion where we work on the people with disabilities to make sure that their applications or what they submitted, we looked at it more in detail because of the challenges of making sure that we achieve or we advance the program in relation to people with disabilities. But I think the key thing in relation to our applications is that in the past, and that's what MGE, when you look at the decisions that were taken in relation to training and workshops, you have applicants who are not accredited to do training on anything. They are not CETA accredited, but they want to do training. And in that way, it becomes a ticking box issue that I receive money to train so many hundred young people, whether I certificate them or not. So we felt, as per the guideline, that this thing, as a project of job creation, it must be able to focus on job creation. Any other training should be referred to the CETA process, and that's why, as a panel, we have also said we will consolidate a recommendation to the department on issues that we think they must look at in the next process of applications, so that many creative industry or youth or people in the sector are able to participate or able to benefit in relation to the grant system created. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you so much, Mr. Molefe. I'm now going to call on Mayor Unati.
Good morning again, everybody. Thank you, Chair, for the opportunity of having us here. We won't reintroduce ourselves. Chair, we would like to start off by setting, I think you've set the scene very nicely in the beginning. So we just want to say that these are the organizations that have endorsed our campaign. The campaign is obviously bigger than MGE. It's all about the systemic issues that we are facing as a sector. Yesterday, the Deputy Minister posed a question. She said she doesn't understand why Nigeria is the leading film market in Africa. We understand why it is, and the economies that are fastest growing in today's day and age are those that have the creative and cultural industries at the heart of their economic plans. And here in South Africa, we do not do that. Here in South Africa, our creative industries are seen as red carpet events. They are seen as just events where you can sponsor people, put your logos on. They are not seen as an ecosystem. They are not seen as industries that compete in terms of giving back to GDP in the same par as agriculture. So without a national plan, we are going to get nowhere. Without these industries being at the heart of our plans, and what's important to understand about our industries is that, Chair, the barrier of entry there is non-existent. So you can be a technical person, you can come off the street, you can learn a skill. That's the kind of employment that we can create. The multiplier effect we give to tourism, hospitality, all these other sectors that we contribute to economically. We are not, a sideshow, so to speak. So if we don't start from there, Chair, if we don't start from there, and given that this MGE is supposed to be a fund that feeds the ecosystem, it's not supposed to be another PESP, another job fund. It's supposed to be a fund that feeds the ecosystem, that develops the creative industries. The fact that we are where we are, and this is just a picture of the fact that the bubble is about to burst. This MGE, the presentation this morning was very nice, very clean, showed nothing about what the artists were going through in the background, showed nothing of the chaos that was created even before the MGE was published in November. We had already given input into how it could help be structured. When it was published, we gave input to say, this doesn't work. Please, can we revise, etc. Sorry, ma'am. So, I don't know if I should
proceed.
Okay.
You are doing the presentation unless Honorable Molatani.
So this is
just a second.
Sorry, Chair.
Yes, Chairperson. I think if members can allow the presenter to present, because they keep on making a noise and it disturbs.
Oh, my apologies, and thank you for the Honorable Molatani. I am so deeply concentrated on the presentation and listening to the presenter. I could not hear. If there's any member, please, or anyone, please allow the practitioner unit to convey their message to this Parliament. Please proceed.
Thank you very much, Chair. So we are at the point where the bubble is bursting. We are lagging behind internationally because we're not paying enough attention to these creative industries. So as we go through the presentation, you will see what industries, what subsectors are incorporated into our industries. When you see those subsectors, think about the variety and think about the thousands of people who are working in those particular subsectors. We haven't even managed to capture all the subsectors, obviously, of the creative industries, but just a reminder of what is at stake here. Just a reminder of the people who are behind the scenes, the people who are working, the cultural entrepreneurs, the teachers, the artisans, the arts administrators, the musicians, the opera singers, the people who are disabled, who are struggling to get opportunities to work in these sectors. Please, we don't want you to lose the face of the people behind here. So we start with the books and publishing, just as a reminder. I think I'm not going to spend too much time on this because the department has gone through it. I will point out what was important for us. Again, by the time the call, you see the department's presentation started with the call in March. But the call was in November. The first call was in November. The cancelled call was in November. Cancelled. And by the time March came around, not only was the money changed, not only were the guidelines changed, but the manner of submission had also changed, as they explained, which obviously had an effect, particularly on people with disability, and you'll hear from Leletu later. So not only had people spent their last monies in the year running around, printing, getting their proposals together for that November call, but several months later in March, so the sector had not been funded the whole of 2024 because there was a chomors at the NFEF, there was a chomors at the NAC, nobody had released any funding. You release funding in November, you cancel it without consultation with the sector. The deadline and even the March call, people are still given the initial 9 months to do the work, even though the department only published the results 3 months after when they were supposed to publish. So I'm just going to pass through this. This is a timeline. I think we've been taken through it. I just want to state that all of this activity, with all the separate notifications, even at the adjudication stage, when they were adjudicating, there were notices coming out to say, oh no, we have to extend, oh no, we have to do this. I mean, the notices clearly were intended to provide clarity, but they just caused more confusion. People were running around, people were not getting answers. The chaos that was this process. And we just want to say, Chair, that, you know, the South African Cultural Observatory, which is a research institute of the department, has done research asking, why is the department even managing this thing? Why is the department administering these funds by itself? It's got 2 funding agencies, saying that the department doesn't have the administrative capacity to deliver this. Then the research also says that this MGE is not benefiting artists the way it was intended to. But there's been no change. There's been no change to what the research is saying. The research was several years ago and no implementation by the DSAC. So out of 2,500 or 2,800 people, 152 projects is what we support the artists with. The approved list was published after articles appeared in the press to say, you know, there are organizations here who have been approved who are not tax compliant. All of a sudden, the list became a preliminary list. A preliminary list. You saw even in the department's presentation how many times there was compliance verification. What is the vetting process exactly? Because the people who delivered their applications manually say when they got there, the application was checked, the department would not even take the application unless all the paperwork was there. And yet people are getting rejection letters based on, oh no, you're not tax compliant. Oh no, your trading name is not the same as your registered name. Oh no, your budget is inflated. You know, vague statements. So those rejected applicants have had no opportunity to engage. They've had no opportunity to clarify. Nothing. They've had no complaints. I mean, no opportunity to put forward what their position is. The post-publication communications, also a mess. To say again, these are the people that we've approved, but you know it's a preliminary list, so we guess we don't really have a total number for you, but this is the preliminary list. Then the rejection letters. The people who got rejection letters, I think I got one the other day, just the other day, 2-3 months later. No, if the appeals, because that's what the department represented to this committee in an earlier meeting, that, oh no, there's an appeals process, people can appeal. Where was the appeals process in the guidelines, the initial guidelines, and in the revised guidelines? Why in the rejection letters are people not told of an appeals process? They're just told to apply next year. Apply next year. After a year of not getting funding, after a year of, even now, and Mr. Romeo will speak to it a bit later on, the NAC has still, to this day, not released all its funding. Artists have been expected to survive for 2 years without funding. This is the second year. And then you take the opportunity And this was a discussion I had with the DSAC beforehand. You take the opportunity to reject people on the basis of capacity building. How do you think jobs are created in this sector? Especially rural and townships. We need to go out there. We need to teach people the skills. That is how we capacitate them in order for them to also be able to stand on their 2 feet and apply for the resources. So it's all very confusing, Chair. Anyway, let's move on. So then there's the disqualification of the NPCs. And you'll see later on, one of our questions is, how many NPCs exactly had applied for projects outside the borders of South Africa? Because only those NPCs who are trading overseas need to also apply to the Department of Development, of Social Development. So the fact that NPCs were all disqualified because they weren't registered with that department, the law only says they need to do it if they conduct business overseas. So I'd like to know, of the disqualified NPCs, how many projects were going to actually be implemented outside our borders? And what happens to the other NPCs that were that were disqualified? So, honourable members, there's the DSAC spin, and then there's the sector reality. What we experienced on the ground with the sector. So I'd also like to just point out, Honourable Chair, we would like the subcommittee, Honourable Chair, to look closely at the budget that was provided by the Treasury based on the budget that was presented at Vote 37, which was the promise, because the numbers aren't adding up for us. The numbers simply aren't adding up. And we realize that it's a medium-term, expenditure framework, but still the numbers aren't adding up. You are funding 152 people. The budget of the MGE was not what was initially allocated as the NGE. We are going to leave it there. I think the point I'm trying to make is today, with the presentation from the department, it's the first time we've seen those figures like that, as clear as day. There's a lack of transparency in this department. And so getting to the root of things is really requires scrutiny. Yesterday, you were told, for example, that there was only one complaint about the NFEF Council. That is not true. So whatever information is put before you, we'd like you to please scrutinize it based on the documentation, the budget allocation from Treasury linked up to the allocations to each institution, the allocations to the MGE, how much has been allocated to the MGE, how much has been allocated to PESP. And so there's no double dipping, counting jobs for MGE which actually belong to PESP or all that sort of thing. We'd like you to look into it. The clusters. Let's talk about the clusters. The minister posits that he has established these clusters for sector engagement. As you would have seen from our memoranda, Chair, the minister uses established legitimate organizations and uses established mechanisms. He came to the organizations. When he invited us to the Bosporat, we were ambushed there. We were ambushed at the Bosporat. They like to say, oh no, the clusters, the sector chose their representatives. We went to a meeting, a Bosporat meeting. At that meeting, we were told, whoever is in the room, you have to choose your representatives from whoever is here. So if you had sent a junior member just to attend a meeting on your behalf, that member was now going to represent the cluster because they were in the room. When we said, hang on, we answer to people. We can't just choose amongst ourselves who's here. We answer to people. Let us go back to our constituencies so that they forward the representatives. It was fixed later on, but I'm trying to show you that it's a top-down structure. It's a minister structure. This minister came in last year. We have been here for 30 years, and we will remain, whether he moves on or not. This structure is his structure, right? And we are participating because some people are getting a barrel over the head that, oh no, you won't get funding unless you do what I do. And when we go to these meetings, we are told what is happening. We are not participating in any decision making. So let it not, please, be represented in any other way. We are the sector, we are here. And we are telling you, and we are not hiding it. We are done, we are tired of this kind of treatment. So when people say, we've got these representative sectors, but we are silenced, we are shut out. You know, today you can't even go and get into the DSAC building without an appointment. They shut you out. We are shut out, we are ignored. We were ignored in November when the MGE was published. By the time this department team gave webinars in, I think it was late November, from the 8th of November when it was published, they gave webinars in that last week of November. We had already given input. It was not even considered in the webinars. We were very upset when those webinars came because we thought those webinars had taken the input into consideration. We've sent you an evidence pack of various letters that we have sent and sent and sent to the minister, sent to the department with input, but it is simply ignored. The department goes ahead and does whatever it wants under the basis that it is providing solutions for us, solutions that we have not informed at all. So let us not use the clusters as though they are forums where we go and we participate and we have our say. So I'm just going to rush through the rest because I do want to give an opportunity for some of the delegation to speak.
Yeah, please, you have yes. 11 minutes left.
All right. So these are the questions I think we have forwarded to the honourable committee members. But again, it's much bigger than just MGE. We've got problems at the NAC, we've got problems at the NFEF. And, you know, one of the weaknesses that we don't understand about this department is supposed to be championing us. We deal with DCDT, we deal with DTI, we are on our own. When DCDT fails our producers, and we have to go fight for the film rebate, which we can no longer bring in FDI into this country, you know, because of the messes there. We have to deal with the Department of Labour because our practitioners don't have labour protections. We've got to deal with the IP issue, the unfair contracts. We are left to navigate the space by ourselves. Where is the department? Where's the department's international relations arm? We were discussing, they want to tax, the World Trade Organization wants to tax the people who trade over the internet. We had to go as the sector last week to go and represent what South Africa should stand for. Where is the department's international relations? Is that not their job? These are salaried employees who are mandated to champion the sector and take care of the sector. Why is it that we're on our own? Chair, you would have seen the minister's lack of response to the issues that we've raised in our memoranda. The minister, as usual, it's denial, it's deflection, it's blaming this organization, it's blaming that organization, never taking responsibility and accountability for anything, minimizing everything we have said to him, can never answer. So he sent us that.
And because obviously the emperor has no clothes, we are here and we have escalated the issue. Because what kind of, Chair, and then I move on to our questions, and there we have questions to the DSAC that we've posed, several pages, including the appeals. We have questions to the Adjudication Committee that we've posed, several pages. And Chair, we have questions to the subcommittee as well. That's it from me. I'm going to please just call on Ms. Bongile next to speak.
Before
Ms. Leleto.
Before the next speaker is going to speak, the questions being asked to the department.
Yes.
Did you, Ms. Malunga, receive any response?
We have not sent these questions to the department.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Not yet.
The next speaker will be?
Ms. Leleto Moses.
Leleto, please proceed.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Anati. The name is Leleto Maambeshala. Moses is an alias. It's a way for me to bring a spirit into the room. I speak on behalf of artists with disabilities, but also I speak on behalf of artists in general, because we don't walk around wearing our disabilities. We want to be mainstreamed. I think the biggest issue currently is the fact that the consideration of artists with disabilities is really based on tokenism. The picture looks good when we mention artists with disabilities, but the department does not have a program that I know of that focuses on the development of artists with disabilities, giving them the power to stand and speak for themselves, to run their own projects. Nothing like that exists. Otherwise, everything else is tokenism. On the clusters, there is no cluster that speaks specifically to artists with disabilities. There again, there was an element of tokenism where it was said, just make sure that in all the 17 clusters, there is at least an artist with a disability. I don't think that's fair. I don't think also it is fair to come and say to artists, you cannot have a capacity building element in your work, but you must work with artists that we don't even develop ourselves. How are we considering those artists with disabilities as artists who must earn when they haven't been capacitated, when they haven't been brought closer to where industry is? This is rural artists, this is township artists, and this is artists with disabilities. No program exists that I know of from any department, locally, provincially, and nationally, that speaks to the development, the encouragement of, and the facilitation of programs that really say, we recognize your talent and we want you to nurture your talent, because your talent is a way for you to ensure that you can make your own living as a person who is living with a disability. Yet when we apply for projects and we say we want to go to the artists with disabilities, show them that we are here, we've made it through the cracks to be those artists that you can look up to. Let us give you the capacity to ensure that you can stand on the stage on your own. Then those projects are kicked out because they've got too much capacity building. And then we sit here with an adjudicator who says, we really tried to favor artists with disabilities. But where are these artists we're talking about? Besides those people that give me a call to say, I'm going to include you in my project because you are blind so that you can benefit and I can benefit through you. Those who cannot speak for themselves, who agree to being included on those projects, are sitting there waiting to earn 1,000 bahts from 1.8 million that has been given to an entity. So I think that's the biggest issue for artists with disabilities, is that there's nobody who's speaking on our behalf. There are projects that are big ideas, but no consultation that has taken place with people like myself. I had to fill in an application form that I could not see. I had to do it 3 ways: type it on Word, forward it on WhatsApp to somebody who can then put it on PDF filler. By the time I was finished, I had the headache of all headaches, the very headache that led me to losing my sight in the first place. And when I handed in my application and I requested, I asked them, why did you guys force us to do this, to hand in an application physically? The lady that took in my application said, your leaders said we must do a physical application. When I went back to the leaders said it was never us because the department has never spoken to us. Email after email has been written to the department pleading the case for persons with disabilities. The only change they effected was to say, okay, please submit your application forms via email. It's the same physical application form, ma'am. There is no way we could have a blind artist specifically who can't see, a dyslexic artist who can see but cannot read properly, or have a software that reads back to them or that they can speak to so that it can type effectively language that can be understood. There's no way they could have made it in this round. And still, we couldn't have made it in this round because us artists with disabilities who want to do creative projects for people just like us have been kicked out because we're building capacity. So it's a cycle that just does not end. We start off very hopeful, we end off very hopeless. Then another call comes, we start off hopeful, we end up hopeless because nothing speaks to us. The department, it seems like they make decisions today and then they hear an outcry and then they quickly say, sorry, we made a mistake. On the 7th of March, they release a press statement and they say, we are revising the application to expand the scope of the applications. And if you had already applied and it seems like you haven't received a rejection or you haven't been declined, don't worry, you don't need to apply. On the 20th of March, they release the call and they say, everybody must apply. Because because the artist had said, this doesn't make sense. Why must we reapply? Why this, and that? Then he said, no, we made a mistake. They released the results. And those results, the artists question them. They say, there are companies that are deregistered here. There are companies who are security companies here. What's going on? The department says, no, wait, we made a mistake. These companies were not meant to be there. We're still vetting. This is just a preliminary list. We'll still come back and let you know what's what. We're still waiting for the final list because apparently the 152 was just a preliminary list. So we need to understand that. Lastly, when the call came out in November, there was a stream there that was for marginalized groups at a threshold of 1 million. In today's report from Mr. Zanyane, I did not hear any reference to that stream. I don't know whether there were results that came out of that stream, because when the revised call came out, there was no mention of that specialized stream for those marginalized groups, that was women, youth, and persons with disabilities. So still, I see no intention to give life so that people can be inspired to effect change in their own lives. I see here a department that is begging us to beg them. Every time they ignore us, we are being begged to beg, to know that we don't have any other option but this option. If they can refuse something as imperative as capacity building, as a ground for declining an application, then we know there is no interest in the growth of the industry. There is no interest in the development of the artists, in the artists being able to work independently. We're talking regulating the sector, but on the other end, we're talking disempowering the artists with every action that the department does. So that's my 5 cents worth, just to say, let us have our own voice as the artists with disabilities. We deserve it.
Yeah, through you, Chair.
I've given you extra 10 minutes. Stay.
Okay. Yeah.
My apologies.
Okay. Yeah.
I want to thank you for sharing your presentation with us. In some cases, I observed that you have responded also to the presentations of the Department, Sports, Arts and Culture. We will provide the department as well, Dr. Khumalo, sufficient time to respond to the presentation of the practitioners during the rebuttal of question time. But for progress, I just want to ask one question before I'm going to ask members to to respond. We have Dr. Kumalo request a list of the adjudication panel. We have received a list, and that is part of our work to verify and to oversight and to see whether there was fairness in the process. The list that we have received, the name and participant in this particular meeting, Mr. Molefe, was not submitted to us. Just make a side note on that name as far as the panel is concerned. I don't know where that name perhaps sneak in as a double barrel or something.
Can I help, Chair?
Mr. Mutale, in terms of the process, we will give an opportunity later on responses. I'm going to request members to engage. I am first in terms of the request to me, going to give an opportunity to Honorable Khabo and then Honorable Marlin and then Honorable Potgieter, Honorable Molatani, Honorable Mataung, and then Honorable Mtetwa. It's the other way around today, Honorable Mtetwa.
I'm raising my hands. I'm still looking. I'm struggling, Chair.
Honorable Kobani, you will be next. Is there any hands on the platform?
Mutambi too, after Nkobane.
Noted, Honorable Mutambi.
Chair, through you, Chair. May I ask, when were these names submitted of members in terms of the synchronization of asking questions? When were they that you are saying now you have been advised that these are the people who are going to speak? I raised my hand first.
No, a request was made that they want to leave earlier. But I can start with you.
No, that's fine. If that is the
on
reason,
that basis, I want to give members a fair chance. And you know I'm doing that. The one meeting I decided this side, other meeting that side. And unfortunately.
Oh, no, if that is the reason, then I just wanted to check because I didn't see any hands.
No.
So, okay.
No, I will not let names sneak in here unnecessary. The Honorable Khapo.
Thanks for the opportunity, Chairperson. Let me once more again pass my greetings. And let me also welcome the presentation from the creative industry concerned practitioners. Your story is very painful and touching. But over and above, let's get clarity from people that must provide a clarity. Chair, if I may ask, is the minister part of this meeting? Because he said that he will be part of the meeting. That will be my first question.
No, the apology has been made.
The minister is not part of this meeting. Okay. Maybe I must remind you that yesterday the minister has committed that he's going to form part of this meeting.
Yes, Honorable. When we started, we indicated he is not.
No, as much as you indicate the apology, I must also indicate that in yesterday's meeting he has made a commitment.
Noted.
So the fact that he submitted an apology does not change the fact that he committed yesterday.
Noted. Don't fight with me. I'm in this meeting.
No, thanks, Chair. Maybe you must get used to my tone. I'm not fighting. That's how I express myself. And pardon me in advance that I'm unable to massage your feelings as expected.
I have some honey here.
I want to check with you in terms of this panel of adjudicators. I must get my question from the department. Deputy Director of MGE. Can you clarify me in terms of the panel? How many members are there? Yeah, I prefer one-on-one so that you don't dribble me along the way with your response.
Thank you, Honorable Member. There are 6. Mr. Muloi is part of the panel. I think the issue with him is that he's got 2 surnames, Molefe and Muloi, but he has always been part of the panel from the beginning. Thank you.
No, thank you very much. This panel of 6 people who have taken decisions on behalf of a lot of millions, how was this panel constituted? For now, I'm just concentrating on you, worry less. I agree you are the one who's leading the MG,
I'm a deputy director, yes,
Yes.
but I do have a acting chief director, the ADDG and the DG.
Now let me talk to
But-
you then.
Okay.
Okay, fine. Let me speak to you. How was the panel constituted?
The panel is, according to the policy, this panel is appointed by the minister because it's an outside panel, external people from government, or from the department rather.
No, thank you very much. Deputy Minister, you are here. Welcome. Thank you very much. The minister is not here. Were you part of the appointment of the panel?
I'm not sure how to respond to your question.
Not a problem. If you are not sure on how to respond to my question, then Deputy Minister is not a problem. You see, that's the reason why I wanted the minister to form part of this meeting. It has been presented here that the panel was appointed by the minister. So the point of departure will then be understanding, amongst others, the terms of reference of the adjudication panel. How was the panel appointed? I'll give you a practical example. In the Department of Education and Training, we're stuck with a situation where we were given an impression that there is an independent panel that was supposed to process the application that led to the appointment of board members of sitters. We were told in the meeting that there is a panel. Fast forward 3 weeks, 6 weeks down the drain, none of the panel members is confirming that they were part of the panel. In fact, all of the members of the panel were rejecting the fact that they formed part of the process of appointing people. It is for that reason, Chairperson, firstly, I must reject the apology of the department in terms of the panel not being here. Must firstly reject the apology. Secondly, must equally reject, with the contempt it deserves, the apology of the panel. I'm not sure if the department must tell us, if they are the ones who have appointed these people, how is it that the panel is not here? That is one question that I wanted to raise, and I'm not sure how we're going to deal with these matters, because all of these things, it then says that the minister was supposed to be here, the panel was supposed to be here. Because for you to interrogate the work that has been done by the panel, you must firstly get clarity as to how were these people appointed. We don't even have their academic background here, Chairperson. We are just told that this person is a writer, this person is a renowned writer or filmmaker. We don't even have their academic background. So the person who was supposed to take us into confidence is the minister in terms of the process that he has followed. But now that the minister is not here, I would also propose that this meeting, amongst others, we can process these issues. But it will require us to have the minister and the panel being present in this meeting. Because it does not make sense to me, Chairperson, for the panel to engage with us via Zoom or whichever visual platform that they are using. It, to me, does not make sense. But let me maybe drive something home to prove to you that we are skating on thin ice here. I can continue with my process of asking questions if you allow me. But my argument here is that we should be sitting with the minister, we should be sitting with the panel in this room. So that when we begin to seek clarity on some of these questions, we have been given the necessary response that we are going to get. I mean, already the deputy minister is giving us an impression that she was not part of the process. That's the impression that she's giving us, because she's saying that she's unable to respond to the question that I'm posing.
Yeah, Honorable Harbour, I would argue that the deputy minister must be in a position to respond to some of these things. It's the minister, it is the deputy minister. When the minister is not available, the deputy minister must respond. And if the deputy minister can't respond, the director is here. So there must be answers today. I mean, they work as a collective. They work all together. They must know what is transpired, and decisions are being taken on behalf of Department of Sports, Arts and Culture. So the whole of the contingent must be aware of that. Proceed, I stole some of your time.
Not a problem, Chair. In fact, probably if they can provide the answers, if you allow. We've got the Deputy Minister, DG, you are no longer acting, you are with us now. We've got the Director General, so if they can provide those answers in terms of how was the panel
Deputy Minister.
Thanks, Chair. I will request the DG to respond.
Okay, apologies for that. Yeah, as the Deputy Director, MGE, has indicated, the process of appointment of the panel was done through the Minister. And the identification of the people that then serve in the panel, the Minister looked widely across the kind of experience he would like to see in people that would be able to then adjudicate. And from the 6 people that are in the panel currently, their competencies, as far as we know as a department, then cut across areas of music, performing arts, areas of books and publishing, etc. But basically, in terms of process, it's adjudication panel appointed by Minister.
According to you, DG, did the Minister handpick these people from the industry or even from the streets, or these people, panel members, were appointed through a transparent process where people within the industry are allowed to volunteer their services?
The nomination and the appointment of these people followed the handpicking. It wasn't a process that involved consultation with the industry.
Okay, no, thank you very much, DG. And if I can check with Mr. Motale. I'm not sure if Mr. Motale is the one leading the panel. If I can check with Mr. Motale, did he get an appointment letter from the minister? And if so, when did he get that appointment letter? And what were the appointment letter directing him of his key responsibilities? The last part, whether there was any remuneration assigned to the work to be done by the chair.
Mr. Mutale.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Honorable Member. Yeah, all 6 panelists, we received letters of appointment from the department, and of course, there was remuneration for the services that we render. Thank you, Chair.
No, thank you very much, Chairperson. While we are still there, we'll request Mr. Motale to share that appointment letter with us. Maybe if I can check with Mr. Motale in terms of the process that he led as the chair of the adjudication. The first question that I wanted to check, what is their turnaround time for processing applications?
Thank you, Honorable Member. There was no specific turnaround time, but the job that we did, all in all, if I were to guess, it took us about 7 to 8 weeks. Thank you.
According to your letter of appointment, when were you expect to complete this task of adjudication?
The letter of appointment did not specify, it was not specific as to when the job had to be completed.
Okay, let me go to your issues then. In terms of your process, how many meetings have you set so far as a panel?
We said for several weeks, like I indicated to you, but we were breaking down jobs per week. We would see on a weekly basis and then submit our reports online and regroup again. But I've indicated to you earlier that the process must have taken, the department can verify, it must have been a 7 to 8 week job.
Okay, I want to check with you in terms of your adjudication process. It is alleged that some of the preliminary outcome indicates that some of the companies that were appointed are either deregistered or are not part of the sector. Can you take us into confidence in terms of the process that you follow leading up until the appointment of a successful applicant, not forgetting the due diligence of importance that you play in the process?
Okay. First of all, the vetting process was not done by the adjudication panel. The department receives applications and then they vet as to which ones are compliant. Only the compliant ones were presented to us. In terms of which one did not have a tax clearance and what, that was not our job. We were only presented with those that were compliant that we had to adjudicate. Thank you.
Thank you very much. DG, I think you captured the response, and the DG, the person of MGE. Can we get clarity in terms of my initial question? Take us through the process. I mean, the last part, the Departmental decided not to respond to it, but I'm going to repeat the question again. Let me start with this one. Take us into confidence in terms of the process that you follow. From a point of receiving application, remember it has been indicated that you are the ones who are dealing with the vetting process. There are allegations that some of the companies that you have appointed, even though it's preliminary outcomes, some of these companies are deregistered, some of these companies are owned by foreign nationals. Just clarify the process and clarify the role players in the process.
Thank you. I will be speaking to specifically to the revised call, which was a manual process, because the initial one, the process is automated. It's on the e-services portal. In this case, the proposal were received in 2 ways. They were received through the drop-off at the drop-off.
No, don't do that to me and don't do that to yourself. I think it was explained in the report on different modalities. Take us through the process of you, after you have received the applications, what process do you follow that will lead to a point of you presenting a list of people who are either compliant or non-compliant to the adjudication? The adjudication committee is claiming that you are the ones who are starting the process. They were not even involved in the vetting. That's what I'm saying. Don't tell me about the process that started in terms of receiving application. Take it from a point whereby after you have received the application, what is it that you are doing?
Oh, okay. I will start it from there. The applications that were received through email and through the boxes are captured to create a register of all applications received. And that is done by various officials in the department that assist to capture the applications. We create our IT internally assisted us to create a portal where everybody could capture these applications. During that capturing, the team the capturers look through the documentation. There's a list of documents that are published in the guidelines that are required. They were on page 8 of the guidelines that were provided to the committee. They check just at the compliance at this stage. If you submitted all the required documents, that's where you have the 2 groups of compliant and non-compliance in terms of the documentation. Then those that are compliant then move to the panel. The panel will then focus mostly on the adjudication.
Before you go to the panel now, the panel says that they are not vetting, meaning that once you deal with the compliance, that's part of the process of vetting. Now, after you have done with the vetting, is there any person, you said that the team that you are having of capturers will then deal with the process of capturing at the same time checking whether the company is compliant or not. After they have checked that process, before they submit it to the adjudication panel, is there any process or is there any senior top management that oversees the process as to whether the junior officials have done it correctly and in line with the prescribed requirements?
Just to correct this, I had not said they verified companies at this stage. They're looking at the compliance documents if you submitted all the documents you're supposed to submit as per requirement on page 8 of the guidelines. So I think I should monitor that. The panel, I would be the one as a deputy director, but within the whole process is overlooked by the acting chief director of cultural development. So those would be the junior manager and the senior manager in terms of this process at this time.
How do you do your vetting?
As indicated, Chair, as indicated, Honourable Member, on page 8, it lists the documents that are listed. So at this time, they checked, is there a proposal? They're not looking at the content of the proposal, but is there a proposal? Is there a tax compliance document as required? Is there a copy of ID that is certified as required? They look at all those issues that are listed on page 8. That you see, if there's no ID, then they noted that there's no ID that is supported. If there's no text, they say no, there's no text that was submitted. So they capture as this their role at this stage.
How do you verify compliance of a company is legitimacy? Do you log into the CIPC site, or how do you verify it?
That stage comes later. So I don't know if we need to go through the stage, or should we just jump to that end?
Yeah, I want that end in particular.
Okay, at that end, when the panel is done with adjudication, the list is...
Sorry, maybe I'm lost. Which panel are you referring to? The one that it says that it does not deal with the vetting?
Yes, I was saying once they've then sent their recommended projects, remember they've adjudicated now, then there's a list of recommended projects that have been recommended. Yes, then those projects, the ones that have been recommended, those are the ones that they were spoken of that the list was published. Those ones, then they move to the next stage. This stage is also spoken to in the guidelines, where then before the contracting stages, then all those things that you are talking about are then verified. That's where then they look into issues of like other government workers. They go in the system on the DPSA to check if they're government workers. There's also the process of now verifying if all the directors are South African citizens as stated in the guidelines. So that process is then done at that stage, because there is more resources available at this stage before while contracting, during the contracting stage or pre-contracting, to ensure that all those matters are looked at.
Okay. Now, there are allegations of companies that are not compliant. I would like you to clarify that part in terms of what is your take. The second part that I want to check from you, now that you've got preliminary outcomes presented, what is your appeals process and what is its turnaround time?
Okay, in terms of the first part that you're speaking to, Chair, there are 3 deputy directors under MGE. So when it goes to the compliance, then the other deputy director begins to take up that role of the processing. There are more program managers. I am more on the side of the processes of through the applications, the advert. I'm assisting in that. There are other ones who can be...
Who are those 2 directors and why are they not here?
We all report to the ACD. So.
Who's the ACD?
Our chief.
Maybe we can check with the chief. Why are the 2 other directors not here? Our mama on Shevana Garanong. Was that something foreign, Yana? Or what? She's saying that she's not part of that critical process and those 2 people are not part of the meeting. And I'm asking, what are the names of those 2 people and why are they not here?
Okay, the names of the 2 officials that also work in the same section of MGE, it's Mr. Dunisan Chabalala and Mr. Dumisan Glow. I think it was an oversight on our side to bring them on board because we thought we would deal with it through here, the manager. Thank you.
The issue of the appeals process. You want to get into?
Yes, Honourable Member, I just want to add. If you look at the document that was attached to the presentation, the one I was referring to earlier on, because I just want to emphasize something. There is a process that happens upon receipt of the applications. which Ms. Alabi is talking about, where they will go through this whole list of the 5 things, are they there? So they are not looking, if there's a company registration certificate, I want to make an example, they would then add that lot into the applications that will go to the adjudicating panel. That company registration certificate doesn't go through a verification in terms of its authenticity at that particular time. So all those applications in terms of the numbers you saw in the presentation, there is somewhere where it said compliant ones, non-compliant. They would then all go to the education panel. The education panel adjudicates the business plan or the proposal. They don't look at the company registration, etc. The 154, I think it was about 154, that they then recommended to the department to say, these are the people that meet the conditions in terms of what they were adjudicating about, in terms of the proposal itself. That will then come back. When it comes back, I'm referring to the 154, when those actually come back to us to say, these are the ones that are recommended, the teams are divided. There are people that deal with touring ventures. There are those that deal with the different categories under the CCIP program. They will then take over those. They are the ones that will then go into detail in terms of those 154 applications as recommended by the adjudicating panel. When they do that process, they would then go into checking. That is why in the report, Chair, that was presented by Mr. Tanyani, you found that there's a section there that was saying there were some that were either withdrawn or found to be not meeting the requirements in terms of the status of the company, etc. I think there's about 7 there. So that is how you will then find that there are those that are recommended by the adjudication panel, but the number reduces later on when we want to sign the MOA with a specific person. We did not bring the others, Chair, the other project manager, because I think it was a call that we made in terms of these particular people that were here will then respond to the others that they are referring to are at a level below the chief director, as she has indicated. And I think between us, we should be able to then handle the questions. If not, we will then respond in writing afterwards.
I want to, before Chair, I had my time is over. Correct. Just the last one. I want to get clarity from. Are you saying that what the adjudication is saying is true? That they did not deal with the finalization of the process, including the verification of the legitimacy of those companies, but rather it is the department who has concluded that process. In fact, we are dealing with 2 separate processes here. There is an internal process run by the department which finalizes things, and there is the initial or the first panel that deals with verification as to whether people have submitted. Then there is an internal process that the department deals with, and that process is the one that leads to the appointment of a successful applicant. Do I get you correctly?
In a sense, can I put it in my own ways, Honourable Member? There's 3 processes from how I look at it. It's the first process in terms of the verification, whether or not you submitted all these documents. It then goes through, that's the second process. They sit, they adjudicate. As Mr. Mutale was indicating, they are adjudicating per clusters, etc., etc. We will be doing fashion and design one weekend. When they finish it, they send it back. When they send it back, it comes back to us. We take the 154, and I'm using the specific example because I believe that was the number here. We take that whole lot that comes to them, we publicize it, because that's what the policy says. We publicize the list as recommended by the adjudication panel. Once we actually have publicized, then the third process kicks in that I'm talking about. That is where a project manager or program manager, I think that's what they are called, the program manager, they say it's touring ventures. He is now saying Stella Pty Ltd is one of those that have been recommended. He then goes through the particular process. What they would find sometimes, Chair, as an example, is maybe amongst the directors, there's someone who's a government employee. I'm just making that as it's only at that time that that person will then be excluded from the final listing. amongst other things, I'm just making one of the examples around what will then exclude a person even after they've been recommended.
No, in a way you have confirmed that ultimately it is the department that...
Honorable Khabo will definitely give you another
permission.
Honorable Daniels.
Thank you, Chairperson. You know, Chairperson, I think I'm going to start at the back end of the presentations that were made. I want to turn my gaze to my sister here from my hometown. And if you want to think I'm biased, I don't mind what you think. I sweep in front of my own door first. You know, Section D of the revised guidelines state that women, youth, and people with disabilities must enjoy a share of ownership and participation and employment. Now, people who are differently abled, I don't believe you are disabled, my sweetheart. You are differently abled because you are able to do quite a lot. So differently abled people must not be treated differently. They must enjoy an equal opportunity. And when I listen to my sister Lele today and she speaks about that there's no programs for them, nobody speaks on their behalf, our role is to do oversight. I want to know the submissions made versus the revised guidelines, which I've stated. Why is the submissions contradicting the guidelines? Why are these guidelines not followed? I would like a response on that, please, Chairperson.
This response?
From the applicants.
My apologies, Chairperson. I would think that somebody from the department must give that response. Thank you.
Honorable Member, the guidelines in terms of the guiding what is included in the proposal. So the section that is also included in the proposal that when applicants are submitting their applications, they should consider and ensure that there is participation in their proposals of women, people living with disability and youth. So I think in terms of the open call, that will be that. But I also know that in terms of MGE, because MGE has a number of work streams, open call is one of several work streams. In terms of that, in this financial year, the DG can also speak more on that. There is a budget allocation that is allocated for a program for people living with disabilities and a program for women. And equally in the department, there is a unit that is responsible for youth programs. That is over and above what is in the guidelines.
Thank you, DG.
Thank you, Honorable Member. If I got the question correctly, you're saying why are the submissions different from the guidelines? And you're talking about the submissions in terms of people, what people will then submit when they are asking for this funding. And I want just to, when I respond, to be sure.
Can I assist, DG, please? Can I assist? I think there's a bit of confusion. Maybe I wasn't clear enough. When I said submissions, I didn't mean a submission of a document. I mean submissions made in terms of the statements that were disposed here.
I'm trying to think of a way to answer that one. The statements that were made here by the department are different from what's in the guidelines.
No, DG, the statements, come and repeat some of the if you want to view it as an allegation to the department, then so be it. It has been said here that nobody speaks on our behalf. It's been said that no programs exist for artists with disabilities. And that is contradictory to the guidelines. Because the guidelines is putting it so nicely that provision is made. And here I'm told that there's no provision made. So that's the clarity I'm seeking.
Thank you, Chair. I think as was also indicated by the representative that spoke to that, the thinking of the department was more around mainstreaming than dealing with the issue in terms of differentiation.
Let's make this easy, Doc. Let's make this easy. Is there any way that the department can provide us with a document so that we can see where the people with disabilities accommodated? I think that is where it will end up.
Yes, Chair.
Okay. Okay, proceed, Honourable Member.
Thank you so much. I've also just heard from a colleague there that there is a budget made available. My question is going to be very simple. That budget that you are referring to, is it an untouched budget? Is it budget still a virgin? Or has it been fiddled around with that budget money? It's been taken out of it already. Because from how I understood, the way you presented that was that there's a budget there that is put in place for people who are differently abled. So it's not been touched.
Honourable Member, there is a program, an appointed project manager for that, and I think they're making the ways the project is going to be implemented. It's in this financial year, so there is work being done. But in terms of saying are the funds specifically for that, yes, they are specifically for that. So they will not be diverted to others. No, they are for that specific program. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And Chairperson, my request will be then that seeing that that money is ring-fenced for people who are differently abled, that we are getting a report on how that funds are being apportioned to who, from which region, from which province, for which purposes, those type of things for us to understand. You know, there's this guy, Stevie Wonder. I tell you, one of the most beautiful songs that he sings, and for a guy who's blind to sing about a ribbon in the sky, it's just amazing. It's so phenomenal. It's just so beautiful. And that's one of God's covenants, the ribbon in the sky, the rainbow. So there is so much potential that we get from people who are differently abled if they just get the necessary support and resources to also be the Stevie Wonders with some beautiful things that will go throughout the globe for everybody to be aware of, the potential that is there. So we need to give the necessary support. I want to move on to my next point. Mzansi Golden Economy talk about building on existing initiatives to elevate projects into large-scale national programs. Now, to me, that is beautiful because there is a plan. We are saying you cannot just be here, small and Yana come in and do, no, we need to elevate you to a large-scale national plan. So I get that. So with the existing initiatives, to elevate someone, it must be a process because you start small and then you elevate. Please name the projects and how long they've been in this incubation of elevation. Because somehow there must be a dashboard. You can't say to me that it's to elevate projects into a large scale, then I must read and understand. Point out to me from my understanding those particular projects, because it's an incubation period. Show me how the baby has become an adult. Who of them, drop some names, have graduated to the level of being recognized as being achieved the level set out to the national standard that you've put out there as a benchmark. Then I want to move on. Or can I pause there, Chairperson?
No, you can move on. Or if you would like to have a response, you're welcome also to request that.
I'm also thinking on time, maybe we must move on and then afford them, or are you okay, Chairperson?
It's fine. You
For
can
me
go
too?
on.
Okay, thank you. So let's pause there because I'm concerned about time.
No, but you have enough time, go on.
Thank you. All right, then I'll wait for a response then, Chairperson. Thank you.
No, thank you, Chair. Can I just ask that we approach this response like this? Kia, I'm asking her to come in. The MGE strategy, and you are correct in terms of its intention, it covers more than the open call. What we're talking about today is just the open call. So in terms of the objectives of the MGE, I would like to just, in response to your question, Honorable Member, ask that Kia then takes us through what is, I don't know whether she'll be in a position to mention the actual projects and names, but if she can, she would, with the assistance of the Chief Director.
Thank you, DG.
Thank you, DG. I've tried to, maybe it's the nervousness, Chair, but there are projects that we can later give specific projects. But as the DG indicated, because there are numerous work streams within MGE, and today being the open call, what the Honourable Member is talking to is the criteria of the open call. Because when you do the open call, you send out a brief, almost a brief of the kind of project you are hoping to reach or attract. So if that statement is read, the question is asked in terms of just the open call, then it will mean that it was the brief given for the submissions that are going to be received. But if it's asked, again, as the DG was alluding, as a whole entire MGE with all the other work streams involved in MGE, I think that this can be provided because there are, MGE doesn't have a training component as well. So there are other programs that have come on. I think in a design, maybe there was a conversation that I had with ACT the other time when they were talking about the design. I don't know if they should remember the company where that has happened as well. Maybe ACT?
Thanks, Honourable Member. Yes, as we have numerous work streams, we have had a number of projects that were very successful in the entirety of the MGE process. And I think it would be better if we can send a list of all the projects, then you can see what, yeah.
I will accept that, Chairperson, for as long as we get it. It's important for us to have oversight over that, and then we can have another bite at it at the time when we receive that. Thank you very much. Let me turn my attention to open call. No applicant is automatically entitled to funding. That's clear. My question then is, are there any applicants who receive funding more than once? If so, for how long have certain applicants received funding more than once? Which applicants receive funding the longest over this period? Who are they and how long have they been receiving? Now, I'm not going to stop there. I'm so glad, Dunati, that I admire your passion, your vigor, your appetite to stand up and fight for what you believe is right to stand up and fight for. I also heard you say that you've been around for 30 years. In the 30 years, were you a beneficiary of funding?
No, I've never been a beneficiary of funding.
You've never been? All right. What was your role then for the 30 years? What did you do?
Well, I've only applied, I think, twice. So I've never applied.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I'm not saying I've been shut out. I've never applied because I'm a support to the sector.
All right.
As an entertainment lawyer, I support the sector. Yeah. I don't necessarily apply for funding myself.
All right. But you understand the sector completely?
Yes.
Thank you. Now, people who've received funding, I need to know those, I've posed the question already. Who's received multiple times? What's the longest person that received? For how long? Who are they? We need to know who they are. And do they submit audited financials? Because that's very critical if you're giving people money. that audited financials must be submitted, because we can't come cap in hand year in after year out, year in, year out, and expect that, no, we must get money because we've been getting money for 30 years. And if there's no audited financials, if it's up to me, I would have stopped this 29 years ago. If there's no audited financials.
Honorable Daniels, I think stop there. I need a response on whether people are being funded twice.
Or more.
Or more. Is there any response from the department?
Thank you, Chair.
It's so nervous, Chair. I don't know what's going on.
DJ, can I just have a word with you, please? Breathe in very slowly. And in with the nose, out by the mouth. There's no need to be nervous. There's really no need to have some water, please.
No. thank you so much, Honorable Member. I must say it is my first time in Parliament, and so we did have. I was part of but it was a physical. There's a huge difference from being physical and being present. So yes, but Chair, to say that are there people who receive more than once? Yes, it does happen because MGE does not have an exclusion in terms of how many times you can apply. So it is an annual call. It goes out annually. So I can say definitely there will be people who have received more than once. The downside to there are people who master the system, who master sending the proposal, who are able to do that. So without that exclusion of saying that if you have received so many times do not apply, it is not there at this time for MGE. As to giving the specific list again, please can then we be afforded to also include it in the list of the people that have come through the system of growth. Then we can.
That's enough. We do have that list. That list have been supplied to us.
Okay.
But I want to pose the question in an inverse way. Have you ever give money to different companies with the same director?
Chair, are you speaking in one financial year?
I'm talking about what is on the table now.
Over the years. Yes, over the years.
No. What now during this time? This funding that it has been given out now.
Remember now, Chair, as the spreadsheet that was shown on the screen was showing, most of those are in contracting. And that's where, as the DG was explaining, that's where all those things are checked. But if it is found that you are a director in this company and that company, then that is also looked at because there is a clause that speaks to that in the guidelines as well. So it get looked at contracting. So the majority of those companies for now, the process is still ongoing. Usually we are able.
But how is it possible to give someone money and he's a director of this company and that company? Explain that to us.
I wouldn't say they've been given money because as AJ explained the different stages, the stage would have been a business plan was adjudicated and the business plan was recommended by the panel. Following that, during the contracting, then the scrutiny begins to look deep into the companies and who are the directors in the companies.
Thank you, that's fine.
So at that stage, it's not even that people have received their money into their accounts. It's when you are now going to sign a contract. Funds are only released after the contract has been signed and all the due diligence is done. Thank you.
Honorable Daniels.
Thank you so much. All right. I also want us to note that the chairperson is eating into my time.
I'm pressing the stopwatch.
Thank you.
Yes, if they respond, I'm pressing the stopwatch.
Let's focus on the administrative criteria. There's an automatic disqualification if certain pointers that's been set out there is not met. And we understand that you say there's no appeals processes for disqualifications. Now, disqualification is one thing. Then surely the pot is only so big or so small. There's not enough funds to give to all applicants. So it doesn't really just mean that those who were unsuccessful were disqualified. It may very well be then that is because of there's not enough funds. Not everybody generally are disqualified. Some are just unsuccessful with the application because of the limited resources. Is that assumption correct?
Again, speaking to that, Chair, I think with the, I keep saying Chair, Honorable Member, with this process of the revised call, it is true, but it's not the disqualification is not. It's more lenient than that one with the automated system. Yes, for instance, if you had not complied and submitted all the documents, even if you were to then go towards appeal, the issue would have been, but you didn't also submit the ordinary documents, so it makes it hard. That's why the first part of it is to check if all the required documents are submitted. But all the people that have submitted all the required documents and were adjudicated by the panel and were not successful at that stage, yes, they can appeal.
All right, so they can appeal. DG?
I wanted to add, yes. There are those that were disqualified, for want of a better word, during the verification process. But we still find some of them appealing. So there are those that are still appealing, not subsequent to the adjudication, but we do have, it's a smaller number, but they do appeal to say, you said I did not submit a tax clearance certificate. I'm just citing that as an example, but I did, you know. So we do have those. And then the bigger chunk would be those that appeal against the decision, because in the letter that is being written to them, it states the reason why the person was not successful or the application was not successful. So I've seen some of the letters that are saying you did not provide a cost breakdown, for instance, and the person then appeals against that decision to actually say, in my application, I actually did submit. Here is proof that I submit. So right now we are sitting with 66, as of yesterday, we're sitting with 66 appeals that cut across the board. But indeed, Chairperson, you do have, as they set through the process of adjudication, the best proposal in terms of how they adjudicate. Obviously, I'm not in the adjudication. Mr. Mutale can speak more to that. At the end of the day, there would be somebody who has submitted what they deem to be a perfect proposal. But at the end of the day, the amount of allocation in terms of budget is a final determinant as well. So they would take that into account, or we would, maybe I should put it like that. So just went a round way, but I wanted to answer your question in that.
No, thank you for that, DG. Then I want to wrap up, Chairperson. Please balance me and balance me nicely. MGE is unable to provide funding because when they send out this letters of regret, they say we regret to inform MGE is unable to provide funding, and then they cite those reasons as per Section D. Cost per job, work opportunities, you are contravening Section D. Your budget breakdown is not quantified. It doesn't indicate the cost per job or work opportunities. Then they say that is in Section D, Item 2 of your revised guidelines. It says your budget breakdown is not quantified and it does not indicate the cost per job or work opportunities. And therefore, we regret to inform you that we're unable to provide funding. And this is why it needs to be balanced. So to an applicant, you regret to inform them about their application for funding because of that. Budget breakdown not quantified. Cost per job or work opportunity is not there. But yet, you make allowance for those who got grant approval letters. You give them 21 days to submit compliance documents together with a full budget breakdown on the approved budget that's been handed to them. And this is why I need to be balanced. Because if you decline my application on the basis that I didn't give you budget breakdowns, and you approve somebody else and you give them 21 days to come back and submit compliance documents together with a full budget breakdown, how do you explain that in terms of I am being fair, I am treating everybody the same, but yet I see the contradiction in the two? I'm glad you're raising your hand. I was going to turn to the DG, so the nervousness is gone. That's good. Thank you.
No, the reason I'm raising my hand is that comes around a lot, Honorable Member. And if you look at the guidelines, they're divided into chapters. Each one has a heading. That process is the chapter that tells once a person has been approved. Remember, in the initial stages, people submit their, I always say, their happy request. They request as much as they request. The maximum is 2 million. People will then submit, majority of people for 2 million. When you are adjudicated, you were checked if your budget is broken down. So that step would have been done at that time. But you're requesting for a maximum of 2 million. Then the panel would have looked at your proposal and they would have recommended an amount. So let's say you had asked for 2 million, but you did meet that criteria. Your budget was broken down for you to have been gotten the stamp from the panel. That will mean that you had asked for 2 million, but then the panel recommends, looking at the proposal, they perhaps recommend that you get 1.2 million. Then that part that you are talking to, Chair, speak to, you have now been awarded. You had asked for 2 million, you are now being awarded 1.2. Therefore, there is a need to then resubmit if you are accepting the 1.2. And if you are to resubmit, how now you are going to rework what was initially 2 million and rework it to 1.2. In that stage, some people we've seen in the past, other people will say, my idea cannot be done with what you are giving me. So I'm not able to rework it. Because if you look at the nature of most, not all, and I must say this, Honorable Member, of cultural and creative industry projects, they're almost like weddings. You can have a wedding for 10,000, you can have a wedding for 100,000 rands. So in this case, what is happening is that they're almost asking you to downscale. So are you able to do that? And then are you able to then resubmit? And this is also standard. If you were to benchmark, by the way, Chairperson, with all grant, you will see that the process of resubmitting to align to what you've been given is there. So the submission you are talking to is a person now submitting in alignment to the grant amount that has been the offer that has been put on the table. Having had met all those criteria now on the amount that you have been given. Because most of the adjudication, like in this case, in this financial year, even though the maximum amount is 2 million, I don't believe there was a person who was awarded a full grant amount. So which means then there will have to be a need for them to then resubmit that. Also the issues of because of the life cycle as well of the application from the staging to the end. A company can be tax compliant now, but by the time they have to redo the document, a lot has happened and they are not. So now they have to submit that. A bank account could have been closed again, which we have seen happen as well. From the time when they submitted to the time when now they have to be going into contracting. Maybe something happened, lack of funds or whatever reason, the bank account is closed. So now they have to resubmit. They submit no, it's not a resubmit this one, they submit. So if you look at the headings of those guidelines in that chapter, you will say that it does guide and it does talk to that's after you have gone there during the contracting. But it does come out a lot. People thinking that it's a whole new submission.
Thank you so much. Honorable Daniels, you have less than 4 minutes left.
Chairperson, I will gladly sponsor my 4 minutes to somebody else. I want to note, Chairperson, that I've been answered. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Potgieter. We will be able to do another member after Honorable Potgieter before lunch.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you to the presenters as well as the members of the arts and culture sector, which I enjoy, but I'm not a part of. So thank you for your service. Chair, if I can ask the members of the adjudication panel whether or not, and granted that there are only 2 of them here, if possibly the ones that are not present can provide this response in writing. But can they confirm whether or not any of them hold or have recently held positions in any political party structure?
The panel.
If I may respond to that, yeah, it's no secret that I am a member of a political party. In fact, that is a right enshrined in our constitution. In particular, Section 9 of.
If I may, I just asked the question. I didn't ask for an explanation.
Thank you, Mr. Mutale. Honorable Potgieter.
Yes, thank you, Chair. What I would like to get to is I'd like to understand, and perhaps maybe I can explain from my point of view. The Constitution dictates impartiality, transparency, and accountability. It also regulates political appointments in order to uphold these principles. The public service regulations contain conflict of interest protocol with respect to an independent review panel requirements, and we've also got the Public Service Commission, which deals with the Code of Conduct. What I'm trying to understand is whether or not any of the members of the panel are members of political parties and what details, or if they can provide the details of that membership. Thank you.
Yeah, if I may respond to the honourable member, and to be specific, I'm a member of the Patriotic Alliance, and at the same time,
all the honourable members.
I am responsible on a volunteering basis for their public relations. I don't do any paid work for the Patriotic Alliance. Thank you.
Chair, if I may, I'm not sure if the other member is willing to answer, but if we can get written responses from the entire adjudication panel in this respect, which perhaps maybe I must give a chance for the other member online.
Mr. Molefe.
Thank you, Chair. Thanks, the honourable member. Yes, I'm an activist in Kagiso, in Gauteng, and I'm the member of the ANC.
Thank you, Chair.
There's another member of the panel.
Chair. Yes, thank you. Thank you very much, Chair, honourable member. Yes, we are three of the panel present today. So yes, I am also an activist. I'm an artist. Been here for 35 years. So that is my few cents. Thank you.
Honourable Potgieter.
Thanks, Chair. Can I ask then if these political party positions and their role within these organizations was formally declared as a potential conflict of interest when they took positions on the adjudication panel?
Can the honourable member please substantiate what constitutes a conflict of interest there?
When joining a committee or even if it's an HR panel, if there's a potential conflict of interest, it must be declared at the beginning of the meeting. So what I'm asking is, it doesn't say that there is a conflict of interest. It says that there is a potential for a conflict of interest. And by declaring that potential, you then safeguard yourself from any, further activities that happen after that. So what I'm asking is whether or not any of the members formally declared a potential conflict of interest due to their membership or active participation in political parties.
I did not declare me myself specifically. I didn't declare any conflict of interest because there was none.
Mr. Molefe.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. I did not declare, I don't have any conflict of interest because I'm not an active leader of the ANC. I'm participating in the panel as an activist, as a businessman, also a person who has been involved in the youth development space for many years. And for the record, to the honourable member, when I was the chairperson of the NYDA, I'm the part of the people who were part of the consultation within the sector and the industry on the establishment of the Mzansi.
We are happy with the response, the Honourable Potgieter.
Thank you, Chair. This leads me to my question to the department, and I do stress that potential for conflicts of interest is not a conflict of interest. It must be declared, and I think perhaps maybe that there is a gap in the department with why these things are declared. I've had to do it several times when sitting on HR panels, etc., in municipalities, because there is a potential for conflict. But I'd like to understand from the department: did you conduct any formal conflicts of interest vetting for any of the adjudicators? And if so, can you provide full details and the corresponding forms that relate to this?
No, the answer is no, we didn't.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to understand the criteria for the selection of the current adjudicators, and were there any independent bodies involved in confirming the integrity of the appointments?
They were handpicked. DSAC. I think they've indicated they were handpicked.
Okay, handpicked as in the minister selected them?
Yes.
Directly, okay.
The Department of Sport, Arts and Culture respond to that. Rephrase your question, Honourable Member.
So, if I can, Chair, the minister hand-selected. There was no criteria for the selection of the for the adjudicators. It was purely done by the minister. Does that make it clear?
Yes, they were handpicked by the and the names were submitted by the minister. But I believe the minister looked, as I said earlier on, looked at the kind of competency that he was looking for, and you can see it in the profile.
But there's no official guideline, policy, or criteria that was utilised to select them.
No, Honourable Member.
All right. Thanks, Chair. I think that concludes that line of questioning. I'd just like to ask, with regards to the disqualification of NPCs, did this happen because they were not registered with the Department of Social Development?
Sorry, was it?
The allegation that NPCs were disqualified because they were not registered with the Department of Social Development, did that happen?
Yes, it happened, ma'am. If you go to the page 8 of the guidelines, when the call was publicized, it says that trust and NPCs must be registered with DSD. So there was that in the guidelines.
And where did that legal requirement come from?
When we did our roadshows and we consulted with DSD, this one, of course, there is an act. It was amendment. And my fellow colleague did quote it correctly. But what happens is that because our sector is a key sector that is also labeled in recommendation 8 of the grey listing, there was a need to also look at the sector and do a risk-based evaluation as well, to have a risk-based approach to it. And in terms of a risk-based to it, inherently, the arts and culture sector, it cuts across borders and nations, we do know that. So inherently looking at that, this was a risk-based approach, and because with touring ventures is simple, because we do support people traveling internationally, so it is applicable. With the CCIP, it's less risk, but because it's an open work stream as well, to allow for innovation and creativity, and it's an open category that at times there can be an element of people engaging with their fellow party in other countries or having that element to it. So this was a risk-based approach when it comes to the CCIP.
But can I understand the legality behind it? Because the claim is that they were disqualified on the basis of not being registered with the Department of Social Development, which was not a legal requirement. So what was the basis that the department applied that legal requirement?
Ma'am, there were two, because it was in the guideline. The guideline get publicized for everybody to be able to respond to the call, one. But two, as well, if I just explained, looking at the nature of the sector we work in, there was a need when there was an amendment to do a risk-based analysis. Remember, with every department now, they even have a risk unit, because with your work, you are entitled to always be doing a risk analysis.
I hear what you're saying.
So that's where it came from. So that's how I was explaining that it is a risk-based analysis based on our sector, and this was also in partnership with the DSD department.
I hear you.
Yes.
Sorry, Chair, I hear you. But what I'm not understanding, because for me, the law is clear. Policies are clear. I can go and look them up and I understand them and I then go about my business. But if, for example, the bank decides to change criteria and it is not part of legislation or approved processes, how would I know that that has become outside of your guidelines? It's not a legal requirement. So I'm trying to understand, I'm not in the industry. I will never make this application because I'm not at that level. But I want to understand why were they excluded based on a risk analysis that is available where? On a process or policy that is available where? That's what I'm trying to understand.
The risk analysis is based on the Amendment Act, and the recommendation 8.
Just a second. Can I just get order? Can we give the member of parliament to ask the question and let there be quietness? Also, if there's a response and there are people who are not happy with the response, respect the response. Let's do this by respecting also the decorum of this house. Proceed. You may proceed.
Yes, thank you, Chair. I think I'm responding to that, ma'am, to say that with the guidelines, first, you know, the guidelines are issued with open call, so everybody can know what are the requirements. However, I'm saying that in partnership with DSD, because they are doing roadshows looking into that space following the Amendment Act. Mm-hmm. And then they came to us because our sector is one of the sectors that has been tabled there by name, cultural activities. So then there is a need to also look at it and do a risk-based analysis, looking at the nature of our work specifically. Mm. So as indicated, this is a risk-based approach, so that even when they present the case, I think that the audit will happen again in this September for the grey listing. They are able to not only show, remember with every audit, even our standard audit that comes from a Director General, you must always have a risk-based approach to your work as well. So this is a risk-based approach.
I'm understanding you very clearly. What I'm just trying to get at is that it appears to be unfair if the legal requirement is that only an NPC that does work overseas, if that's the way I understood it, is required to be registered with the department. That you've now done a risk assessment that makes this requirement more stringent even on NPCs that work within the country only. So all I'm saying is perhaps maybe look at the criteria that you've imposed on them, because it is not legally required. The legal requirement is that if you do business outside the country, you have to be registered. But now, based on your assessment or engagement with the Department of Social Development, you've now created this, this risk or criteria that is not part of legislation. That's really what I'm trying to understand. But I do get your explanation. Thanks, Chair. Are you?
No, I think what I wanted to acknowledge what the member is saying, and to say that we will look at that and ensure that in our guidelines we align ourselves to legislation. But it was as indicated, it was just a risk-based approach. But we are willing to look at that and consider that we don't breach the law in whatever we're doing. Thank you.
Then I would like to understand, Chair, just the cluster meetings that happen. Are there minutes or recordings or, because, it's a very serious allegation that they are not inclusive. Public participation is the corner of our constitution, and it has become a tick box exercise, and we've all done it, and it's happened across, various spheres of government. But when we stop listening and we just start doing, things become problematic. It's how you end up in, dictatorships and all sorts of weird and wonderful places. So it's very important to listen. And I'm trying to understand, allegations of this nature need to be substantiated or confirmed. Are there minutes available or recordings of those meetings so that we can maybe assess for ourselves whether or not they are inclusive or they are following a top-down approach? Because I do think it's very important that those particular processes are inclusive.
With regards to the cluster meetings, there are recordings and meeting minutes that come out of all the meetings that we've had, starting from the boss Berat with the minister. And even when the clusters themselves have meetings, they do have those minutes.
There are minutes coming out and the recording coming out of the August boss Berat in terms of what happened there. The follow-up meeting was in October, and that one again, there are minutes pertaining to that, which was a follow-up meeting coming out of the boss Berat. And then the third meeting was in April, early April. where Minister then met with all. At the time, there were 16 clusters, and they asked for the 17th cluster, which is arts education, and it was added.
Dr. Kumalo, so we accept the fact that there was minutes. That's fine.
Just giving specifics.
The member want the possibility to send those minutes, and can we share those minutes with the practitioners as well?
With the committee secretariat change, you can circulate further.
Thanks, Chair. Just two last things. The second last one is, from what I understood, you said the initial process was automated and then the new call became manual. Is that correct? Was there a reason you went from, digital to now manual, which seems to me a bit of a backwards, in terms of our tracking to the fourth industrial revolution, which should be the fifth industrial revolution, and et cetera and so forth. But why are we going back to manual processes? Sorry, I'm not looking at anyone in particular. Whoever can answer me.
I think, ma'am, in the letter that was said, it was also attached in the submission that's labeled for the 7th. There are a number of reasons that are stated there of going, the reasons for doing the recall and the revised call. And the manual, I think one of the things that we observed, managing also the call center, is there is no consensus even within the sector whether the manual or the current system that we have managed by SITA is a better option. So if you go through our conversation with the department or emails, even through the MGE, the kind of comments come in. There are many people who are displeased with the SITA electronic process that we have, but equally so there are many people who are opposing the manual. But at the time, the decision I think might have been informed by those who were saying that the SITA portal is not so user-friendly, and who had a lot to say about the portal, who were not pleased with it.
Be quick. We issue our call in November, October, November, and it's for the next financial year. And the reason why we do that is because we've been asked by Treasury to allow time before the commencement of a new financial year because of all these rigorous processes of item creation, etc. As the new financial year kicks in, then it delays. Now, that call went out beginning of November, and it was further extended. It was end of December, the date in terms of when the due applications must be submitted. It was again extended to January. So it took 2 months. Soon after that, the panel started meeting. In February, the panel then approached us through the minister to actually say they were very worried about the quality of what they were getting, etc., because we had changed the format, as was said in the presentation. And at that time, they had not concluded all the adjudication process. We asked that they complete the adjudication because we were saying perhaps when they conclude the process, they might see a different picture emerging from the adjudication process, which they did. Which is why then, at the time when they concluded, they came back, the minister had a meeting with the chairperson, we were there, where the chairperson then briefed the minister about the concerns of the adjudication. At that time, it was already in March, and we had to find a way that would actually make it possible for us coming the new financial year to stay within the financial year because there's the allocation for that new financial year, allowing time for applications, etc. Beside what Ms. Alabi is saying, because indeed, when we issued the call in November, we had quite a number of complaints around the access, the freezing. The system is run through SITA, and it was freezing all the time, according to the complainants that we were getting. So we had to make a call. The initial call was, let us allow in each and every province for people to come and bring their own applications manually, given the time that we were sitting in at that particular time in March. And we got representation again from the sector to say access to these places for someone who is in the trying to find an example in my head. Let me, it would be difficult for them to get to, for instance, the Playhouse in Durban. Hence, we opened up the email.
I think, DG, sorry to interrupt. I think it's very clear. I don't have an issue with it. I think you should open both manual and electronic processes, but your processes should be monitored through an automated system, because that ensures that there's no tampering, that there's no, and I'm trying to understand the decision to go completely from automated to manual, which for me creates a flawed process in itself and brings into question, and my colleague, Honourable Kabo, has highlighted to me the meeting in June, where they've requested forensic investigations into the allocation or selection of beneficiaries. And it seems to me you're going backwards in your selection processes instead of forwards using digital technology, which would also alleviate the concerns from a lot of the applicants to be able to see in real time exactly what was going on. Now it's kind of all happening behind the scenes, the call by the adjudication panel to go manual, because, it doesn't sound good. Whether it is or it isn't is irrelevant. It just, on the face of it, it doesn't sound good. So I would suggest that possibly, and this goes, the same meeting we had yesterday, Chair, was the NFVF. You see, I'm having more. The Film and Video Foundation. The same sort of issues as the transparency and ability to see in real time what's going on. I pulled off the beneficiaries on the website, and one thing that's very clear is that there's no company registration numbers there. You can't really check them. Some of them, it doesn't appear that they exist because they've got no footprint anywhere. And a number of them, the first two actually that I searched, are in deregistration. So there is definitely an issue with the transparency of the process coming out. For me, that list should include company registration numbers, details of where you can find their companies. If you have the company registration number, you can look up the directors immediately. And I have a free thing to Biz Portal, which is your CIPC. It's very easy to do. But you can't do that because 90% of the people on that list you can't find. And that is not a transparent process. So if you're going to publish with the details so people can see what's going on. But I think, there were a number of things that, Honourable Kabo actually pointed out from the June meeting, Chair, where, forensic investigations were going to be done and documents and et cetera were going to be provided. I don't know if that's been provided, but I certainly don't have copies of them in the documents that the Secretary sent to us. So if possibly we can go back in time and just, kind of start putting all the pieces together. Otherwise, I feel we're going to have the same meeting in 3 months' time and, be going back in the past. But that's all for me. Thanks, Chair.
Yeah, thank you, Honourable Potgieter, for also mentioning the list. What I will do while you were mentioning it, I would invite members who have concerns on the list, because I also have my own list. And that is what I was asking. I also went, and at sometimes you just find a plot number, not a street, a plot number. So when you go and Google search, in the past, we only found a piece of land. So that needs to be interrogated in terms of our oversight role as this committee. I also see a number, but I want to invite members to send in and to go for them, seek for themselves, to investigate that list and to see. And on the list that I have of members that have received monies, we have something called some youth festival, youth gospel. And this is what we want to see, because you got your art club festival, you have very other festivals. Now there's just a gospel 2 or 3 groups that has been assisted. So we must broaden these invitations. We must broaden it. The very same list I found a director of this company, a director of that company. We will compile this list and we will ask clarification on this list. And something, as the chairperson of this portfolio committee, that bothers me a lot is the geographical spread. And someone can't just boast it is only GP and KZN. I see there's a little developments, Honourable Molatani, in Free State. But I want to invite members, I'm going to give an opportunity to everyone to go through this list, to interrogate this list and ask seeking clarity questions. CPIC, we don't find them. Are they on the list? And there's millions on this list. Honorable Molatsane, I'm going to give you an opportunity. It seems that we will do one more than you. Then we will have, if we can try and do the 3 members that is here in person, then we will have the members on the hybrid platform. The Honorable Molatsane.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Chairperson, I want to start with the issue of the panel. I think here it's only 3 panel members who are present on the hybrid, and others are not present on the hybrid. It's only 2 members who are on the hybrid. I still want to, I don't know whether it's 2 or 3, whatever number that is on the hybrid. I still want to say that we need those panel members physically here. We cannot be told today that they are businessmen and so forth. When they were appointed, they did know that at some stage they will have to come and account to the parliament. And we cannot be given such an excuses, whereas we are sitting here with a complaint or dissatisfaction that we need to resolve as the parliament together with the DSEC. I think for us to have this meeting on the 10th of June, we have this meeting of Mzansi Golden Economy. And I'm not sure if, Chairperson, I went through the minutes as well as the resolution. Number 1, I will start with resolution 1 of that meeting. DSEC was supposed to provide a list of all funded flagship program. The due date was 25 June. I'm not going to go through all the resolution. Number 2, DSEC should provide a forensic report on all NPC that DSEC relies solemnly on government. The same due date was 25 of June. Number 3, DSEC should provide forensic report on individuals and or companies that received funds and how funds were spent. When you go to resolution number 9, independent forensic report on departmental official who benefited directly or indirectly from the MGE. And also the due date was 25th of June. Lastly, government should provide accelerate implementation of the South African Cultural Observatory, Sako review recommendation, particularly regarding the funding diversification and economy system development. I'm saying that after hearing what I can't remember the name, Leletu has just said. It is painful what Leletu has to go through as an visually impaired someone. We can't be treating our disabled people like that, Chairperson. Again, regarding the issue of the panel, the DG has just confirmed that the panel was handpicked by the minister. And I remember we know as the portfolio that the panel was appointed in December. I was thinking that when said it was appointed, there was all these processes of advert, applying, shortlisting, interviewing, and so forth. It was handpicked. Let us now change it not to appointed. The panel was handpicked in December 2025, Chairperson. Given that the DG has just confirmed that, I just want to raise this question to DG. Did DG advise Minister when Minister was doing this, that
it's going to have the legal implication on this decision. When he handpicked, the DG advised Minister that it's going to have the legal implication, DG.
No, Honourable Member, because there is no legal implication in this case, because in terms of the policy that dictates the transfers and funding, there is nothing that dictates the format of appointment of the panel members.
You know, Chairperson, I think I will raise this issue that, to me, this panel definitely it needs to be dissolved, or in fact it needs to be dissolved. There is no other term that I can say, because it can be handpicked, Chairperson. Really, it can be. Does it represent the interest of the artist? Does it represent the interest of people who are supposed to benefit? Or does it represent certain group of people? I think the same thing that we were asking yesterday on the film, what, NV? Yes, the same thing that we were asked, that the board that has been appointed, does that board have the people who are in that art industry, who can be able to judge based on knowing the industry very well, not bringing me, who has never been in an art industry. And Chair, let me also pass to these applications. The total number of applications, Mr. Zanyane, it's 2,823. And then out of that, only 125 were approved. And then 2,698 were rejected, were failed, whatever. They fall in that category. How possible it is? It's not even half of the applications that were approved. 125 compared to 2,823. It just not even a drop in an ocean, Chairperson. And on top of that, on this 125, how much has the department spent to fund? And what is the total budget of this MGE? I will just wait there to get the answers.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, on slide number 14, the total approved 152. Yes, if you look at the total number of applications, 152 is really not even 10% of what was approved. That is acknowledged. However, there are certain factors that would make that situation. And the total value of the transfers currently is standing at 24,931,992 because the transfer of funds goes in tranches. So there's two tranches that go. The last tranche goes after the successful meeting of reporting obligation by the applicant or the successful applicant. The total MGE funding allocated amount is 275,928. Not only for open call, it's for everything. Yes, 275,928. But so far, the spend, the total spend currently is 24 million. And I think maybe Kia can assist in terms of the reasons of applications.
No, it's fine. The member just want to know how much is spent. As long as it wasn't on buckies and trucks and yeah, and there should be.
Thank you, Chairperson. I think, Chairperson, I will be, if Mr. Zanyani can assist us with the list of all beneficiaries, as well as the amount.
Honourable Member, my humble apologies. There is a list. It has been sent. Yeah.
Okay. No,
the only thing that is outstanding, and I would like the department to respond on your question, is the issue surrounding the submission of the forensic audit. If the department can just respond on that. The list definitely has to receive that.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to check with the department, Chairperson, because yesterday I remember I've raised the issue of where the department did come up with an extension on the appointment of the board. When they found out that only it's how much? I want my numbers. Only that small number, 225, have been approved out of 283. 125 have been approved out of 2,800 have approved. Okay, it's fine. What did the department do based on that? They've seen it's a huge number of applicants, and then it's a small number of approved beneficiaries. What did they do so that we cannot find ourselves in this situation where it's a certain portion of number that has been approved, but we have a huge number of people who have applied? What did they do? Why did they say that let's go back, let's open this, and then, or else let's check those maybe who are missing one or two documents to say that we are giving you a grace period that within this time you must have brought these documents so that you can be approved. I think I was trying to check my emails, Chair. We have so many complaints of people who I will just check. I'll even submit it later. Of one artist who said to me, I was sent a letter that I've been approved, and then later he received an email again that saying that it was a mistake, you are not being approved. I remember I had that email, and that artist is from Soweto. I'm not staying in Soweto. I don't know that artist. He just got my email or on the department website, and he said to me, I was approved. I said, send me all the documents. At least I can be able to raise issue on the documents that I'm busy reading. I'm approved, and then later disapproved. It was a mistake. I don't understand how does it happen, Mr. Zanyan. Can I have a clarity on that?
Thank you, Chair. Among the list that has been supplied, we indicated earlier on about the issue of when we are doing those quality checks. There are applications which were sent letters that they were funded, but subsequently that was withdrawn because of various reasons. One of them, as mentioned here, is the issue that if a person works for the state or one of the directors in that company is a foreign national. So there are those instances where there were reasons given that why the funding has been withdrawn. On the one that Honorable Member is speaking about, I think we would need to be finished with that because at this stage, we are not aware of that particular dispute. And I think that if we can be finished with it so that at least we are able to look at that concern and the matter. And I think the other comments that the member has raised are noted as concern. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honourable Matswana. Proceed.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. I think I will submit that email. I'll just go through my email and check it. I just want to check also regarding this the administration of MGE. Does the DSEC have the capacity to manage the MGE? Why is MGE with so many, or why is it having so many challenges if the DSEC has the capacity to manage it?
DSEC, please respond carefully on that one.
Look, the DG will also help me on this one, and I think capacity is a challenge, not just in terms of competencies, but also in terms of human resources. And as a department, I think that members would be aware that after the merger, the department is still to finalize the issue of the structure of the department, and therefore there is that under allocation of resources in relation to various areas in the department, and MGE is not exempt to that one. And coming to the issue of challenges, Chair, and I think there's no project that would not have challenges, especially when you are dealing with funding issues. We are not saying that it's allowed to have challenges, but we are in this space where we are supplying funding, and obviously there would be that unhappiness which we acknowledge, which may arise from the systems that we may be using, the criteria that we may be using, and also maybe even the time frames that we have to adhere to in providing funding. And I think it stems from that partly, yes, capacity is a challenge, but also that there is a lot of expectation out there in terms of the work that we have to do as a department on funding the beneficiaries. Thank you.
The answer is there is challenges and capacity.
Yes, Chairperson. But on that challenging capacity, when did they realize that they have a challenging capacity, and what is their plan in resolving that challenge? Because the minute that you are aware that you are having a challenge, you need to have a plan B how to resolve that challenge. So can the DSEC tell us what is their plan to resolve that challenge capacity they are having? They cannot come here and say that, yes, we have a challenge. What did they do? Because they know that they are having a challenge.
No, we realized that there is a challenge a few years ago. And I think perhaps those that were there even before me would have realized a process of the development of a revised and realigned organization structure was embarked on, because the structure of the chief directorate was not responsive to being able to execute the mandate. I am aware that the minister has approved the revised structure a few weeks ago or a week ago. However, it doesn't mean that the structure can be implemented, because the processes require that the structure then goes to DPSA. But also the filling of those positions would possibly also take time. Now, the structure itself is not going to be a solution to issues of capacity. What we did in the last 2 years, Honourable Member, upon realization of insufficient capacity, we did appoint on contract project coordinators. That's what we refer to. But the project coordinators were more to deal with the tracking of the projects, because that's where we were also having quite a serious problem with the process of coordination and tracking. However, we have also realized that there is over-reliance on CETA in terms of the system utilization is concerned, because when we needed to go back to the system each time, as I had said earlier on, there were several problems because the system has to stay open and active throughout the process of those particular project administration. So we are considering, and I think the colleagues are putting together a document just to engage with the minister with regard to how we can align with the NAC grants management system. However, Chair, it's not a cut and dried solution because we are also aware that NAC is experiencing its own challenges. However, they've got a grants management system, whereas we do not have that kind of a system. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you very much, Chair. If you allow me to continue.
Please do.
Yes. I just want to check, has the DSEC considered the recommendations outlined in the South African Cultural Observatory Review, evaluation of the Mzansi Golden Program, Mzansi Golden Economy Program of 2023, regarding the open calls and funding of the CCIs. One of the recommendations refer to target calls to support women, persons with disabilities, rural people, and other unrepresented groups in the cultural and arts sectors. These target calls can provide opportunities in the following ways, Chair. It's only two ways: address funding and support, address historical imbalances and inequalities within the sector. Has the DSEC considered those recommendations of the South African Cultural Observatory Review of 2023?
DSEC?
Yeah, thanks. Thank you, Chair. Yes, I think what we can say is that we are looking at the recommendations. Without being specific, MGE is one of the programs that we are beginning to look at carefully because of the challenges that we are experiencing. And I think DG has mentioned the issue of looking at the issues like the GMS that the NAC has. But we are looking at reviewing how we are going to implement MGE going forward, taking into account the recommendations that Sako has made, because those are the prerogatives that we have to meet. In actual fact, even government requires us to look at that. So we cannot even run away from those recommendations, but it is something that, Honorable Member, we are looking at to ensure that we address these challenges. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairperson.
You have 7 minutes.
Yes. Chairperson, lastly, I think I'm still going to raise the issue of the panel. We need a follow-up meeting where the panel is present physically here, Chairperson. We cannot be sitting here talking about something and people are busy minding their own business somewhere where they are. I just want to check with the DSEC. Does the panel get paid per sitting or per month, and it's how much?
DSEC?
Chair, can we just check the figures, but it is per sitting.
Yes, it is as per the Treasury regulations for such committees. But I can check that.
Yeah, can you provide that? Because we met with NFVF yesterday. The figures that has been given is far beyond the Treasury regulations. And when you look at Treasury regulations, we look at 5,000 a day, something to that effect, for persons, chairpersons and all of that.
Chair, they are not the same.
I understand, but can we have these ones?
Yes, I think these ones, they are in terms of TR20, if I'm not mistaken. We just want to give you the correct figure, Chair, not to Damsak.
Okay, while they are looking, Honorable Maletsani, while you were speaking about the panel,
And I saw Honorable Potgieter wanted to say something about the panel as well, but I'll come back to her. You can proceed, you still have some minutes.
Yes, Chairperson, I want to know how much are we paying this panel? And up to so far, since from the 10th of December, when the 11th of December, when they were handpicked, how many times did that panel sit? And one thing that I've heard when the DSEC was doing the presentation was that for this panel to finish all those applications, it was something like 7 to 8 weeks. And how much did we spend on that 7 to 8 weeks? That has only come up with 152 approvals. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, we're still looking.
Yes, I have the rate for the chair. We're just looking for the member, but for the rate for a chairperson is 4,446.
Yes. Per day, or is it per sitting?
It's per sitting.
That is the regulation of Treasury. I've seen it. There's a table. Okay. Happy?
4,446. And then for the normal member, it's 2,698.
I think it also said for 5 hours, the regulations, or is it the whole day? 8 hours.
That's the day, yeah.
I just want to know how many meetings did they sit as the panel, and how much in total did we spend on them to get this 152 approved applicants?
And those meetings they attend, they don't want to attend these ones.
Yes, those meetings they attend because it's where they are being paid, which is unfair, Chairperson. And I'm still going to say it. Follow-up meeting with the panel, here physical Chairperson, failing for them to come, they can just send in their resignation letters.
Chair, proceed. May I request that we do a consolidation of meetings on this one? So that we can submit to the committee.
Okay, we still have Friday till 3:30. It's not over and above members. I think there's an outcry. They want to know. Okay. I think of 3:30. By the latest 3:30, we can get it information.
Chairperson.
We'll just check with the office so that they can send us.
Chairperson, the chair of the board is online. He can just tell us how many meetings did.
Mr. Mutale, I forgot. Mr. Mutale.
Good afternoon again, Chair. The remuneration, I think the department will expatiate on that. We don't meet for a day and go back home. What we did and what the department did was for us to meet for quite a number of days to finish the job. It's not like a board meeting. So we are not having meetings today and then next week. No, that is not how it worked. We made it a point that we work on a daily basis.
Point of order. My question is straight and clear. How many times did the board sit? Full stop.
I indicated earlier that we did a 7 to 8 week job.
I can't get that.
Chairperson, we said for 7 to 8 weeks. We are sitting on a weekly basis, not on a daily basis. So it's plus minus 7 weeks that we worked for.
Are you implying 7 weeks times 4,000 a day?
And Chair, maybe whilst you are still wondering, it is not that much. If people maybe have the impression that we went all the way smiling to the bank, it is not like that.
No, Mr. Steve Mutale.
Yes, Chairperson.
Members are dealing here with oversight.
Yeah, I understand.
We interrogate and ask questions on expenditure of taxpayers.
I understand, Chair. I understand the important role that you play. No, yes.
Chairperson, You know, we've been sitting here listening to Mr. Mutale harassing us since from this morning. And it can't be right for us sitting here as the members of parliament to be harassed by a panel member who was handpicked. It can't be right, Chairperson. And we've been quiet, thinking that at some stage he will realize that he is been harassing us. I think all the members who have passed before me, they've asked questions, and the way he answered the question, you can hear that he is a very angry man. I'm not sure what is the reason for Mr. Mutale to be part of the panel, knowing very well that when we came to raise the issues, he's going to be angry, Chairperson. It can't be right. And I'm still insisting we want Mr. Mutale and the whole board physically here. Thank you, Chair.
Let me do this ruling.
Chairperson.
Let me do this ruling, Mr. Mutale. Before August 3, we will, between yourself as the chairperson of the panel and DSEC, get the amounts of days. We do have it now, more or less, and the amounts been paid to panel members. You have.
Can I say something, Chair, with your permission?
Yes, please do.
I want to say to the honorable member, if I came across as harassing and angry, that was not my intention. I humbly apologize.
Thank you, Mr. Mutale.
Apology accepted.
We are department.
Yes, Chair. Thank you, Chair. Kia, who's working with the panel, does have the information, but I think we just request that he's gonna log on to, like right now she's doing that, and I think after lunch then we can be able to have the exact, because the payments are coming from the department. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Chair. If they can be able to submit that, because with this everything is impossible. We are still waiting for the recommendation of the 10th of June to submit information. Even till today, we haven't received anything. That would be my submission. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you so much. It is 13:15. I will adjourn for lunch. Then we will come back, and then, or you want to go after lunch? Is it fine? Because we still have honorable members on the hybrid system that also would like to engage. No, honorable member. Sometimes you sit in the position where I give you first the opportunity. Members and guests, we're going to adjourn, and we will be back 1:30, 13:30. 15 minutes. Okay. 1:45.
Chair, can we do
1:45? Oh, let's do it 2 o'clock. It's fine. You want it. You want to stay. Yeah, there's a proposal from the DM. There's a proposal from the DM, and I think that's fair. Let's have a working lunch, and we will start in 20 minutes. Yes. It's not about the GNU now, it's about the EFF's proposal.